Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Well, good morning. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. Intern Jake, I believe, is in his final week with us. And then I think we just put him down, if I remember correctly. That's just the way that it goes. It's emotional. Like, everybody's sad. You don't want to do it, but you do. That's just the way that it goes. A lot to do on the program today. Orioles coming off a sweep of the Angels. We will talk to our buddy Ryan Ripken about that. Also NBA Finals, Game 5, pivotal Game 5. We had gotten into a debate last week around here about how you use the word pivotal. Because pivotal we associate with significance.
You should just use it for every game, probably. I mean,
And to me, I believe that the
Pivotal Game 1
is on a pivot. And so I believe that you could use Game 3, you could use the word pivotal in a tied series to describe Game 3 because it's level, and then it's going to pivot one way or the other. But we associate pivotal with important, significant. Because of that, we can't make Game 3 of a series seem like it's all that important. It's just Game 3.
yeah, but it's the NBA Finals.
I understand.
It's pivotal.
It's just not the way that it works.
Monumental.
So I stand by it. It is of my belief that we should be using pivotal.
Every day for every game.
To describe things that are level and that will turn one way or the other. That's the way that I feel about it. But I guess this is apparently something that I'm not supposed to talk about for 2 hours on a radio show. Apparently that's too much. Maybe move on, discuss other topics is what the suits tell me.
I guess because
Wanking
what are you going to
motion.
use pivotal 4 times during a series? Pivotal Game 1.
Well, yeah, it would be
Pivotal
Game 1.
Pivotal Game 3.
Yes.
Got a pivotal Game 5 tonight.
Yeah.
Potentially a pivotal Game
Yeah,
7.
no, it wouldn't be a pivotal Game 7 because it'd just be over at that point.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, so
well,
it can't-
it's tied,
it can't pivot.
and then either
it's
either
over.
somebody would win. I would assume.
The end of this is that tonight's Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Tony Massenburg from Monumental, former Terp, he's going to join us. We will discuss how perhaps the Thunder have re-seized control of the NBA Finals after their Game 4 victory in which they had to rally, and the Pacers kind of crumbled late. So all that coming up on the program today. We've got 3 faces to put up on the board, which I don't know. Is that the first time all year? No.
We swept
The White Sox.
Yeah, the White Sox.
Yeah, swept the White Sox. So it's not the first time all year they put up 3 faces. Man of the Match is brought to you by Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills, Frederick, and Columbia. I've been using Game Day Men's Health. I felt much better. I went. We played Sunday night tennis last night. The rain was a little bit of an issue. There's some slip sliding going on, but me being pliable and move, that wasn't the problem. Playing Sunday night tennis last night. I've been using peptide treatment from Game Day Men's Health for about a month now, and I would tell you that I genuinely feel better. I don't want to oversell that. I want to make this abundantly clear. It's not a miracle drug. It's not, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to make you feel like you're 20. It will not. But it might make you feel like you're a couple years younger. And that's what it is that I was looking for. I don't know what you're looking for, but men in our 40s, there are always different issues that we're faced with. Stubborn belly fat that was much easier to take off when we were in our 20s, and now we're like, hey, I'm going to the gym. I'm doing things. I'm walking. I'm running, and it's just not coming off. Things are a little bit different. Metabolism a little bit different in your 40s than it was in your 20s. They can help you with that. Erectile dysfunction, not something we like talking about. You get together with the boys, go have a beer on a Friday night. You're not like, hey, man, I can't please my wife anymore. Not normally the lead-off subject. But it's real. You get to a certain age, you deal with it. They can help with that. And sometimes it's feeling a little run down, feeling maybe like you're low T. You can get a complimentary testosterone test. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. You can call 443-264-4454 for Game Day Men's Health in Owings Mills. If you are out west, you can call Game Day Men's Health in Frederick, 240-931-3717. And also, if you are a little bit further to the south, perhaps you call Game Day Men's Health in Columbia, 443-266-3505, Game Day Men's Health. Friday night, rain was an issue, but what wasn't an issue was the pitching of Chas Morton.
Chaz?
Who struck out 10 Los Angeles Anaheim Angels over the course of 5 innings. Frankly, had it not been for the rain, who knows? Maybe he was going to put up a truly crazy number.
I feel like the rain might have saved him.
You think it was going to go sideways?
Yes, I
for
do.
Chas Morton
I do.
had he continued pitching. The way he was pitching, look, I understand the thought process, but the way he was pitching, I don't know that I agree. I don't know. I mean, he gave up a few hits. I think he gave up 5 hits over 5 innings.
That
5 hits and a
right.
walk, I want to say.
Sounds right.
Struck out 10. It was nuts. So Chas Morton, the first man of the match of the weekend. And then the games got really interesting. Saturdays was obviously the most entertaining of the weekend, as it was quite the back-and-forth affair in which the Orioles fell behind and then battled back and then gave up the lead. And it was just a seesaw battle, I believe is the way that you would describe it. Fell behind 4-3 in the 6th inning. And who put them ahead for good?
A pivotal home run.
Pivotal grand slam.
Well, that was not.
No,
that was
yesterday.
that was
Nice. I
yesterday.
appreciate you wanting to jump in. I do.
I forgot that was yesterday.
And Jack trying to. It's like, man, I watched the Orioles. I want to say something.
And it also wasn't really that pivotal of a grand slam.
Yeah,
They
at
were
that point, it
already-
was
yeah,
it
they were
was a
up-
5-2
they were up-
game.
yeah, they were
You
up
know,
2-0.
it happened. You're not wrong about that. Cedric Mullins put the Orioles in front for good on Saturday with a 2-run homer. And on a day where no one in particular kind of carried them and the pitching wasn't great, I actually thought about Felix Bautista because he had pitched Friday night, then he came back in on Saturday and struck out Mike Trout after a really prolonged battle. But ultimately, he also found some more trouble on Saturday, and it wasn't perfect. But Cedric Mullins, man of the match for the 3rd time this season. Charlie Morton for the 3rd time in like the last 2 weeks. And then on Sunday, as Jack points out, Gary Sanchez did crush a grand slam. His 2nd home run of the weekend, stretched a 5-2 lead out to 9-2. But the thing is, that wasn't the moment where the game was most in doubt. And for what it's worth, Cade Povich pitching out of the bullpen, maybe that's what he is. Maybe he's a guy that needs an opener. Had some fun with openers.
Yeah.
Was
Was it 3 openers
Yeah.
last week? Yeah.
not on
No.
Friday. Morton started, didn't he?
Yeah, Morton started.
Yeah.
Aiken opened on Thursday? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Aiken opened Thursday. I guess it was only 2. Did they use one Wednesday?
I don't know, man. Whatever. The moral of the story is Cade Povich pitched well.
No, they did not. Eflin
But there was one spot where the game is truly in doubt. 5-2 game in the 7th inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. And the Orioles call upon their knight, Sir Anthony Dominguez. And Sir Anthony proceeds to deliver back-to-back strikeouts of Joe Adele and Baltimore's own Lamont Wade, who Griffin and I completely forgot had been dealt to the Los Angeles Anaheim Angels. And he's a longtime buddy of ours, so I feel really bad about that. But I didn't feel bad about him striking out in that spot. Sir Anthony Dominguez, first time ever as an Oriole that he goes up on the board. I know this has got to be an emotional moment for him. I'm sure we've already reached out for comment to see
Congratulations
what
to
it
Sir.
means to him to go on the board. Sir Anthony Dominguez with those 2 huge strikeouts in that spot becomes man of the match. And so there you go. 3 men of the match up on the board for the weekend is once again we put him on the clock. We say it goes south. The board's gone. It's out of here. And once again, they come through, and they keep the board alive.
They got to be listening.
Yes, clearly there is a correlation.
Keep
Now,
that board up.
Is it causation? I also think yes.
Yeah.
I also think yes.
That's how this works.
We know correlation. I assume causation. As the Orioles
And that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
are back within 6 games of a playoff spot as we wake up this morning. Now, with that in mind, today at PressBoxOnline.com, my column is about the other side of it, and it was sort of inspired. I meant to say it in the column, but it kind of felt like I was going to get lost. It was sort of inspired by a tweet that I saw from our buddy Zach Moore, who's, of course, part of the Bat Around, and former Orioles farmhand. Yesterday, he tweeted the following: at what point does a coincidence become not a coincidence for the Orioles anymore? Everything top to bottom has gotten better since Mansolino took over. Was it Hyde, or did it all just figure itself out? And I would push back on, I would say, basically all of that tweet with Zach, and I love him. It's my guy. He knows that. It hasn't all top to bottom gotten better. The results have been better. The Orioles now have matched the number of wins that they had this season while Brandon Hyde was managing with the number of wins they now have with Tony Mansolino. Brandon Hyde went 15-28. Tony Mansolino's been 15-12. That's a notable difference. How much dramatically we're feeling better about some of the things that most concerned us about this team? Adley Rutschman has been
Better.
a little better.
He's been better. He was awful.
He had a much better 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, and really more like 10 days, Adley Rutschman looked fixed. For the first couple of weeks of the Tony Mansolino experiment, it didn't look better at all. And last week it was somewhere in between. Does Gunnar Henderson, that would be your best argument, is that Gunnar Henderson's probably been a bit more consistent. But is that about Tony Mansolino, or is that about a guy that started the season with no spring training and needed some time to catch up? Was Heston Kjerstad any better under Tony Mansolino than he was under Brandon
How many
Hyde?
triples did he have with Brandon Hyde?
Thank you. Great point. Has Kobe Mayo really been better?
How many doubles did he have with Brandon Hyde?
I don't know.
I don't think he had any.
Okay, you say so. The answer is no. No. The answer is we always knew the Orioles weren't as bad as their record was, and we also knew that the biggest reason for the record, it's the thing that, like, when it was an explanation but not an excuse. We knew that injuries were the most significant part of the story. We knew that. We like to ignore it if we just didn't like Brandon Hyde, but we knew that was the reality. And like when he had to go without Andrew Kittredge, that was going to be a problem. And when he had to go without Zach Eflin for a few weeks, that was going to be a massive problem. The Orioles have a better record. But let's not kid ourselves. We're not enamored. We're just excited that they won 3 games this weekend. Ask anybody last Thursday, or let's say last Friday morning, if we should be having a conversation about whether Tony Mansolino had fixed the Orioles. What we're reacting to is they won 3 games this weekend, and that's a good thing, and we like that. There is a relevant question to be had, and I explore it today at PressBoxOnline.com. The relevant question to be had is, at what point would the Orioles record only under Tony Mansolino become noteworthy enough to warrant further conversation? I'll maintain today. What's today's date? It's my parents' anniversary. It's the
Happy
16th
anniversary.
Yeah. 46 years.
Wow.
Good for them.
Congratulations.
Good for them.
Yeah.
The Clarks.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, not us. No chance we're making it.
Congratulations to
You
the
don't
big
think
Clarks.
so?
Yeah, no chance of that.
You don't think so?
We're
What are you, like you're like quarter of the way there?
We're doing our best. We're
You guys seem happy.
working hard.
Jeez.
What's today's date?
I'll give you another 2 weeks at least.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. It is the 16th. As we stand on June 16th, I would tell you the same thing I've been saying. I think the Orioles should hire a manager today. There is nothing about the fact that they've gone 15-12 in the 27 games since Tony Mansolino has been the interim manager that suggests to me that everything is fixed, everything is solved, and all is well. They happen to have won 3 games this weekend. That's good. I like that. But I won't overreact to it. I think they should hire a manager today, but that's because I thought they should hire a manager a couple of weeks ago. I've understood that it wasn't going to happen until at least they were out of it. If they intend to hire one of the managers that's currently available, that's their intention, is to hire David Ross or Joe Girardi or Skip Schumacher. There's a chance that once they know this team is out of it, if they were to go back into a tailspin, that maybe in August they'd go ahead and install that person. I still don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to end up being the plan. But that's the earliest that I think they would practically do it. Me, Glenn Clark, I would do it today. Today. Today, Junior. I would do it today. But I get it. I get why someone would say, that's the Buck Showalter comparison. You wait until the team is definitively out of it. Then there is some advantage to having him come in and at least meet the players, get to know them, be able to have a say. As Jake Mintz pointed out, we still don't know if the general manager is going to allow them to have a say. And perhaps part of the reason why the Orioles won't consider hiring a manager in season is because of that caveat that Ken Rosenthal gave us, that ownership may well have not decided if they are still committed to Mike Elias. And if they're not, then they're sure as hell not going to let him hire a manager in the middle of the year. That would be crazy. The question becomes, at what point does Tony Mansolino go from interim manager to managerial candidate? And because I love giving away my column so that you won't click on it, but I ask you to anyway because
Click on it right now.
my God, do we need it.
What website do I go to?
PressBoxOnline.com. Well, I don't know if it's up yet, so might be lying. Yeah, nope, it's not. So at some point today, go read it. What I'll tell you is, in order for Tony Mansolino to be considered as a candidate, it would have to involve them making the playoffs. And even then,
Winning.
I would say for it to be an elevation, if you want to give him an interview, this is what I would say. If they make the playoffs and they lose in the wild card round and you want to give him an interview, by all means, give him an interview. But for serious consideration to be the next manager, for there to be any thought of him simply being elevated.
Well, and if he wins a playoff series,
it would require to me at least winning a playoff series. At least. And even then, I'm not sure that I would be comfortable with it just being an elevation. Even if they were to win a wild card series and then turn around and, say, lose in a division series, my opinion would likely be he's earned an interview. He's earned consideration, but not elevation. I would still want to measure Tony Mansolino against the top managerial candidates out there. It would take a serious playoff run for me to be willing to say, okay, you just got to elevate him. It would take something like reaching the ALCS for me to like, dude, you got to give him the job. You don't have a choice. This hire is too important. This hire is now about winning a World Series. Or it should be. There's lots of things that should have been about winning a World Series, but, hey. That's the moment that you're faced with. And so, hey, guy did good, guy won games, give guy job. That's not. Nope. There is a point at which it becomes theater of the absurd. Tony Mansolino, if they lose Game 7 of the ALCS, you can't. You just can't. You don't have a choice. He's going to have to be your next manager. But just making the playoffs, which still to me seems unlikely. I get we're gonna get drunk on 6 games out of a playoff spot. Red Sox are apparently sellers.
Well, just that one guy.
Yeah, it's complicated. I'm aware. Still, like, I'd rather have him than not. They'll probably be a better team without Rafael Devers. That's my guess. We'll get drunk on that. We'll convince ourselves that that's relevant. And not that they're just not a very good baseball team. We'll hold out hope of what a return of Kyle Bradish and a return of Grayson Rodriguez could mean. Despite the fact that, like, we know that Grayson Rodriguez has never actually been the top of the rotation pitcher that we wanted him to be. We'll do all those things. And I can't tell you that they won't make the playoffs. They could. It's not impossible. We're going to keep saying breathlessly how bad the American League is, and we'll be largely right. I'm going to assume that someone else is going to turn things around in the next couple of months. Like this thing where we think, hey, everybody stinks, so the Orioles could just surge past them. Like that means that everybody stinks and someone else can do the same thing. Like that's the way this works. The Royals.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at too.
Yeah,
Cleveland seems to always
Cleveland
figure it out.
would be in that conversation, absolutely. Any one of those teams could be the team that makes the Rangers could be that team. I don't think I'm going to believe it's the Angels. I always tend to believe it's not the Angels.
Mike Trout's back.
Thank you. But that's the point. The point is, like, this thing that, like, makes it seem like the Orioles have some birthright that they're the team that can make the push and break through. When it happens, I'll believe it. They just lost 2 out of 3 in Sacramento.
Yeah, it's a tough barn though. I mean,
9 days ago. Come on, man. I'm not there. I'm not with you. I know it's possible. But even that alone to me would not be enough. It wouldn't be enough for me to warrant just elevating Tony Mansolino and denying an actual process of finding a manager. This moment to me is far too important. I hope the Orioles keep playing good baseball. I hope they keep making it interesting. But they need a complete managerial search. They don't need, let's just hope this guy is good enough. They need every thought to be about winning a World Series. And I'm not here to tell you that there's no world in which Tony Mansolino as a manager could ever win a World Series. I have no idea. But I know that nothing that I've seen so far says to me, my God, this man has changed everything. And you don't think that either. You don't. You're just happy that they won 3 games this weekend. I am too.
So I agree that I think, though, if they were to win, even if it is just a wild card series, I almost feel like that would guarantee him the job.
That would be
just
that would. I have no idea.
Just because they've had no playoff success for a decade. And
specifically in winning a series or winning a game even. That's fair. Sure.
And the run that they'd have to go on to make the playoffs. I mean,
I don't know. They're 6 games out right now. Like the notion that they're
going to have to be above 500.
I did the math on this. At the moment, the last playoff spot is held by the Mariners.
And like you said, everybody's going to be, not everybody, but...
The Mariners have a .514 win percentage at the moment and hold the final playoff spot. If you project that out, that suggests, and I'm not saying
83 wins.
83 is the number. If you project it out, it means that someone could get into the playoffs this year with 83 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Diamondbacks had 84 wins.
Yeah, with respect, it just means we got a lot of playoff teams. We're kind of not still used to this in baseball, but it's sort of like really honoring somebody for being the 7 seed in the NBA. It's not really an accomplishment. It's more fun than not. Like, that's true. But you're not making decisions based off of that. And I know that you would say, well, hey, but it's unique for Mansolino because he inherited 15 and 28, except for the fact that, like, he was part of that too. It's not like he came in, ripped everything up, and said, like, he's part of that. What I would say is, if that was the, and I have no reason to think that's the thought. I think that would be bat-ass, and I don't believe they would operate that way for a second. If fans felt that way and got drunk on the moment, right? Like, got drunk on, oh, this is fun, let's give them, it would be an insane way of doing business. It would be insanity.
I feel like the team would have to have taken to him a lot more as well. Like, if they're going to win a playoff series, that means the team would be all in on Mansolino.
Yeah, I don't know why you would think that. Why would you think that?
Because they're going to have to go on an unbelievable run here.
You keep saying things like unbelievable run.
It
doesn't require an unbelievable
a pivotal run?
There you go.
The record that they would require for them to...
Well, I'm going back to 2 weeks ago when they were still 15 games under 500.
From 15 and 28 to here, it would require them to have gone 68 and 51 to get to 83 wins. It's good. Nobody's debating that. But it's not an unbelievable run.
The way things work with the pitching they have.
It's unbelievable to go from that to winning a World Series. That's why we talk about it when we talk about the Nationals and having gone from 1931 to winning a World Series. But from that to winning a random 3-game series, there's something unbelievable about that. It's the type of stuff that happens in baseball. And it doesn't mean nothing either. Again, to me, he becomes a candidate if that happens. And today, he's not a candidate to me. But you make a run and win a wild card series, part of this is winning a wild card series isn't a thing. We've been through this. It's why we don't fill the stands for the wild card series. It's not an accomplishment. We don't actually treat it that way. But you win a real playoff series, now we're having a conversation. Like we are at that point. I don't know. Like, context still matters. But simply elevating, my God. If winning a wild card series is enough to say that's got to be your manager, we got bigger problems. I'm still in favor of them doing it. Hell, I'm in favor of him winning the World Series. Then we won't have to worry about this. All right, let's talk more about it. Of course, our next guest is the host of the Ryan Ripken Show. You also hear him on Baltimore Baseball tonight over on 105.7 The Fan. He is Mr. Ryan Ripken, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's going on, buddy? How are you? How was your weekend?
Hey, happy Monday. Weekend was phenomenal. One of my best friends got married.
Nice.
Wedding was 100 out of 10. And, the Birds win 3 in a row, and then a top 10 bat leaves the AL East.
Yeah,
so,
that doesn't, right? That's
a lot of things happened, right? But overall, it was great. You have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend. Let me go back to something, Ryan, because I've had this conversation. This would be part of my stand-up routine if I ever got around to doing it. I think you're still at the age where wedding weekend basically means you can get away with murder, right? Like when one of your buddies is getting married, you can do whatever you want. And if your fiance says like, hey, what's going on? You're like, yo, it's wedding weekend. Like we're all going to go dress like sexy cops and go parading through the streets, and we're going to light off fireworks, and we might intrude. We might try to question a country's sovereignty. And then you say, wow, you did all that? You're like, well, it was our buddy's wedding weekend. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know exactly when it turns. And I've been trying to figure it out because it's somewhere in your 30s that it turns. And a wedding weekend, like you don't even bother booking the hotel anymore. You're just like, no, one of us will not drink. We're going home to sleep in our bed. We're not even bothering to make a whole weekend out of it. Are you still in the crazy portion of your life when it comes to wedding weekend?
Well, I think there's always the excuse of, hey, it's for the groom. Oh, it's for the couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more responsibility than there was, a few years ago.
Okay. You're starting to move into it.
Say,
mm-hmm.
However, when it comes to a wedding weekend, just like we were joking about it yesterday with my buddies, we left it all out there for the wedding. We did our part.
Put it all on the field.
That's how I like to look at it. Put it all out there.
I respect it.
The shirt is absolutely drenched. I did my duties, and above all, two of my best friends got married, and it was amazing. Yes, responsibility is a little bit more when you hit 30, right, Glenn?
It's. I'm telling you, I got to figure out what the number is. I think it might be like around 35 that it started. The worm started to turn for me, because I'm telling you, man, we had our run. Wedding season was real. In like our late 20s, early 30s. It was literally anything could happen. We're going to lose somebody we're going to be wild. But somewhere around 35, everything turned. And now I'm like, oh, we're going to a wedding? Wonderful. I'll put a shirt on. Like, that's the extent of it. That's all it is. Ryan, you mentioned the Orioles. They get a sweep. I'm just having this conversation right now. I want to get a sense from you. What impact do you feel like the managerial change has had on this team, as they have gone 15-12 since the change? At what point is there something there, and we have to start talking about Tony Mansolino as a candidate to be the full-time manager?
Well, I think it's a couple things, right? And we talked about when a team loses, something's going to change, and someone's going to lose their job. And in this case, Brandon Hyde and Tim Cousins both departed from the team. And, we're saying from the beginning when it happened, things are not going to be fixed quickly. And who knows exactly what the Baltimore Orioles are going to do moving forward, because they had things they had to work on from a team fundamental side. And then the other part was they were missing a ton of pieces. And I don't like to play the excuse game there for teams, but did it not matter when Jordan Westburg, you saw him come back this week, what impact he makes on a ball club, and Colton Cowser, and then Charlie Morton is getting into a rhythm here, throwing the baseball. Plus you have other guys like Sagano, who I know recently has had his struggles, but the starting pitchers are going deeper into a game. Your bullpen then can be rested a little bit more, and they've been really sensational, right? So I think for Manzo, he's communicating well with his players. He's doing his part. But I think there's a mixture of things. that go into this for the Orioles coming back. But, yeah, if the team wins, just like we talked about the business on the negative side, if the Orioles continue to win games, Manzo's a great guy. He communicates well. And if the Orioles do make a run at this, then they're going to have to really look at, they might have the guy that they want leading this team moving forward, but we still do have 92 games to go, right? So a lot can happen. But you got to be – I'm really happy for the guys and for Manzo that they're hoping to turn the corner here and make this an exciting last 3 months of the season. I'm
in a weird spot, too, where they wake up this morning, Ryan, 6 games out of a playoff spot. And we had the conversation about, like, hey, how does the reality impact what they do at the deadline? And in poking around with some of my league sources last week, I got the sense that it might not matter, that they might just really be committed to we're moving on from the pending free agents, and it might not really matter how many games back they are of a playoff spot and making those decisions. Is there a point at which they should reconsider? Is there a point at which they wake up, they're within 2 or 3 games, something like that perhaps it's time to say, no, you need to ride this thing out with Zach Eflin and Cedric Mullins and Ryan O'Hearn, and it would be damaging for you to move on from those guys at the deadline?
Yeah, I think, any team, but with the Orioles, they'll be enticed by what they can get back for some of their pending free agents, right? Because we even saw it a few years ago when the Orioles made some trades, Jorge Lopez, Trey Mancini being 2 of them, where people were going, wait a minute, the Orioles, they're back, or they're in this race. Why are we selling? And it ended up being the right decision because you got some pieces back and it helped the Orioles then continue on their trend and what they did in 2023, most wins in the American League, win the AL East. But here's my one thing that I look at to that argument is if you are in the hunt, you got to ask yourself, for me, it's, what's the ultimate goal? Because at some point you got to draw a line in the sand. Say, we can win with this group and we're going to go for it right here, right now. But they do have a lot of things they got to look to towards the future. I just even think, Glenn, if we're even talking about, even if the Orioles are kind of in it, kind of not, I don't know if they have enough arms pitching-wise to say we're going to ship off Eflin, Sagano, and et cetera because of all the injuries, right? I don't know if they physically could do that to their starting rotation. Then it looks at guys like Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric, which I think you got to figure out who you want to be a part of your team and culture moving forward, and that's where it pulls it at the emotional side for me because I do think both those guys really enjoy being in Baltimore, and that's half the battle, right? That you want guys to be Baltimore Orioles. Those guys definitely do. And can you replace them? Because at the end of the day, Glenn, this is the reality. The Orioles get back in this or not, they are not rebuilding for 2026.
Right.
They are retooling. They are supposed to be contending to win the AL East next year, the year after, and try to go win a World Series. Right? So whatever decision that they make, they are going to have to understand that this is to continue to be competitive for years to come.
Ryan Ripken is with us here on GCR. Ryan, it's interesting what you say because my argument would be if there's any chance of you signing Zach Eflin, you do that now. Like, go do it because to your point, you absolutely are going to need that pitching next year. If, you've explored that, and Zach Eflin has simply said no, I do think it becomes really compelling because there's not a lot of top-level pitching that's available at the deadline this year. And given what we know the price of pitching to be, it might very well be that you can get a ransom for Zach Eflin. And as much as it would be fun to make a playoff run, I don't think I can picture a world in which you're winning a World Series with this group of pitchers. I'm in a weird spot where I'm normally not this guy, but I could be defensive of even if they're within 3 games of a wild card spot, that it just might be the best thing for them to deal him. But I certainly would prefer that they have explored every avenue of figuring out if they could sign him first.
Yeah, I mean, the 2026 this 2025 off season going into 2026, Glenn, like that's going to be the really interesting situation, because when you look at the Orioles reconstruction of their roster, their construction, I'm sorry, you know, what do they have more of an idea of? It's their position players for the most part, right? But what do they not have, or they're dealing with injuries in their system? And it's been talked about for, you know, I know it's been very documented with pitchers that have been drafted by the Orioles and have not made it to the big leagues, you know, in the last 7-8 years. The reality is pitching depth. They don't have enough of it. So when you're looking at the 2025 offseason, it's going to be very pitch heavy, in my opinion, because you know who your second baseman and third baseman and shortstop, and you have a pretty good idea of who's going to be on your team, your catcher and all that. Pitching. So with Zach Eflin, I know he's a pending free agent. If I'm Zach Eflin too, you're going to get a bag in the offseason because that's the pitching market's going to demand it. You know, so I don't blame, and I wouldn't blame the Orioles for making a move to get the value, right? I don't blame that at all. But when you're looking at something where you're going to have to keep some of those guys, it's the arms, just because of all the injuries that continue to happen. And I wish now, Glenn, too, it's not a matter of if pitchers get hurt, it's just when, you know? And that's something that clearly we have seen this year.
Yep.
There's still some Orioles that are not back.
Yep.
You know, Grayson Rodriguez has not pitched this year. Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells, you hope to see at some point at the end of the year. But look at everything in between. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand either way. And here's the other reality too, Glenn. Just because you sell doesn't mean you can't go and compete. Look at the Detroit Tigers last year, where they got rid of Flaherty and they went on a bender and they won a playoff series and pushed the Guardians to the brink. So there's so many different factors that can happen. And you know, the one silver lining with all of this right now, actually, and I hate it because it's because of an injury, Glenn. With Ryan Mountcastle out, you are finding out finally what you're going to get with Kobe Mayo. He wasn't having opportunities, and that's also a part of these trade equations, right? You want to trade prospects. You want to replenish your system. You need to figure out what you have. And I feel like there's still an unknown on some of those guys. I know it's a long-winded answer there, but I think there's so many variables that go into this. And Kobe Mayo is definitely one of those guys that, unfortunately, because of Mountcastle with the injury, but you're going to find out if Kobe Mayo is going to be a part of your future, which I think is extremely valuable as you get closer to a trade deadline.
Unfortunately, you know, you also got a prolonged look at Heston Kjerstad, and that one didn't go as well, which is a huge bummer. And you know, there's sort of not a way around that. Ryan, individually, is what we saw yesterday maybe the solution for Cade Povich for a little while, which is go with openers. You know, he's pretty good. The first time through an order, you know, use him in stints like this, get him 3 innings. You know, is that the answer for how you can make this work with Cade Povich? At some point, it feels like Trevor Rogers probably should be back in the rotation still.
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge believer in Cade's upside in game. You know what? I don't know if the opener is the if it works, great. You know, I'm indifferent on that. If you get the results that you want and the player's comfortable, then have at it. But obviously, if you got a guy that's a stud pitcher, like we talked about the Tigers the other game, the final finale, Skubal, yeah, you ain't opening for him. That dude's just going to get the ball and you run with it, right? I understand they're trying to find different ways, but when I look at Cade, this is for me building confidence. But the biggest thing for Cade, it's always just 1 inning in his outings. You can go back to every really bad situation. He has 1 game, Glenn, where he's given up 7 earned runs, and then he has a few games, if I'm counting this correctly, he's got 3 games where he's given up 5 earned runs. And I can go back and look at each one of those games and go, there was 1 inning that tilted the scale of those being, wow, that got away, to, hey, Cade, that was a heck of a start, you know? So I think for Cade, and this is a part of that growing process, I think it's really just trying to learn how to pitch and be a regular in the big leagues. I really do. So I'm not going to say that that's a factor with it, but Cade, the best thing he can do is get experience. And if the opener's a way to continue to build his confidence and do it, I'm all for it. But I think people do need to recognize this is the first year of a guy that's only 25 years old and trying to compete in the toughest division. The AL East is back, by the way, the toughest division in all of baseball.
All right, now how do you make sense of the Devers thing? I mean, is it as simple as perhaps he became so mercurial that they are somehow better off? I still struggle with like a world in which you're better suited not having Rafael Devers than having him, and I know that everybody in Boston is a conspiracy theorist. They simply just don't want to pay players anymore, and so this is the way that it works. What's your overall take?
You know, I think if you go back to what was it, January 2023, the Boston Red Sox signed Rafael Devers to a 10-year deal and say, you're our franchise guy. And in the process, what led up to that, right, in the previous years, you let Mookie Betts go, you let Xander Bogaerts go, and you were saying, Rafi, you're our franchise guy. And within 2 years, he's no longer on your team. And in one off season, player, which I think both sides, Glenn, were at fault, where I know there's a pride with Rafi that you want to play third base, but also understanding you got to try to do what's best for the team. And the Red Sox as a whole maybe could have articulated that better on their side. But make no mistake, it didn't impact Rafi's bat. He's hitting like a top 10 hitter in baseball. Right? He went with it. I think, honestly, when you make this type of move and how Boston's constructed, this very well could help them in the long run. I know that people are saying, well, it's crazy. Look at who they got back. I'm still bullish on a guy they got in Kyle Harrison. I think he's got to learn to more like Povich at pitching at the big league level. But he's only 23. The Red Sox are over 500. You sweep their Yankees. You have a roster that can win right now, and you just ship him off.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's going to DH or not the rest of his way, and I'll be honest, I guarantee you, I bet Buster Posey is going to help and get confidence, and Devers is going to play first base over there because Matt Chapman is already a very good defensive third baseman.
Yep.
But if you're a Red Sox fan, it makes you sick to your stomach. Because I know that there's turmoil, but the guy you committed to be your franchise guy in a less than a 2-year span that's gone, and that makes people question. And we've seen this here in Baltimore. When moves happen, it could be the right move in the long run, but your fan base is going, this felt like an opportunity to win right now, and we just traded away our best hitter. So they're going to get a lot of heat. And time will tell if that's going to be one that really haunts the Red Sox faithful. But I'll tell you what, every team in the American League East and the pitching staffs are doing a cheers because they did get one guy that has absolutely been a menace to their rosters. And now that Devers out of the division, they're going to celebrate that.
Highly support the idea of there being no Rafael Devers in the AL East. All right, Ryan, what are we plugging? Back at it tomorrow?
Yeah, Ryan Ripken Show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on YouTube and X, and now working on going live on Facebook for it. I'll be on 105.7 with Baltimore Baseball tonight, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 to 2. And then I'll be back on so we can discuss more of our what you should do at 30 or 35.
Brother,
around maybe it's not weddings. We can think about the next events where things change.
This is Ryan. I'm telling you, and you know now I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. Like Father's Day becomes my life because it's the day I can now get away with whatever I want. Whatever I say, I get to have it. Now it still requires a significant amount of work. Like I still have to do the grilling, but that's okay. Like I want to do the grilling. I don't want somebody else using my grill. I don't want it to be that way. But that's the next, like, what weddings were at a certain age. Like, I genuinely get that joy out of Father's Day at this point in my life. Like, somebody say, hey, how was your father? I'm like, it was perfect. It was perfect. I woke up in the morning and said, I want to go for a hike today, and I want to try to make this Honey Old Bay chicken dip. And I did both of those things. And my family, like, complained a little bit, but then said, all right, fine, it's your day. And I milked the hell out of it, man. Like, it was the greatest thing I could ask for in my life. So one day soon, you'll understand. I have no doubt you'll understand how I'm feeling.
Well, I'm looking forward to our future Father's Day conversation. And I hope you did have a great Father's Day.
Thank you, pal. I appreciate that. Love you, brother. Appreciate you. Let's talk soon, all right?
Absolutely appreciate you, man. Thanks.
It's Ryan Ripken with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time for us. Legit. This is the way it goes on Father's Day. Whenever a dad says, I got to do all my own grilling on Father's Day, you don't want somebody else doing the grilling. Let's stop. You don't. This is Father's Day for me yesterday. Woke up.
Is that a new shirt for the
fine
the
folks
holiday?
at Jimmy's were kind enough to send that over. That was very nice of them. They always do that every year for Mother's Day and Father's Day. And I think they send Christmas ornaments every year as well. They couldn't be sweeter about it. It's very sweet. I got lots of dad stuff. That part of the day I don't really care. All due respect.
Wow.
All due respect. Just saying, like,
a lot of thought goes into that, I'm sure.
Number one dad, like, come on, man. Like,
you're not number one dad. You're just admitting to it. I'm not the number one dad.
I already knew that. I didn't need socks to be aware that I'm the best dad.
Well, maybe they just want to, make sure you don't forget.
On Saturday, I reminded my older son, like 4 years ago, made this promise to me that when I'm old, I can come over to his house every Saturday morning and he'll make me eggs and cheese.
Nice.
Hey.
He doesn't cook at all. Like, even a little bit.
Eggs and
he's
cheese,
got
man.
time. He's got time to figure it out.
I constantly remind him. Like, hey, bro, you told me when you have your own place, I can come over every Saturday morning and you're going to make me eggs and cheese. So on Saturday night, he had his championship baseball game. Went the wrong way. But the line was like 7.5.
They covered?
They covered big time. Statement cover.
So the line closed. I thought we were
From
saying
Team
9.5
Juniors.
at the end of the show on Friday. So it sounds like
Lucky
the line.
that it was that. I didn't know that their best
So
player,
some late money coming in
on top
on
of that, their best player, the player on their team that's also on the travel team, was missing from Saturday night's game.
Wow. They didn't even need it.
So when I found that out, they were playing with 9 kids. The other team had 15.
Jeez.
And when I saw that, I'm like, oh.
Monstars over there.
I was really nervous that it was going to go. It was going to be ugly. It was ugly. This team ran to the regular. So I got some problems with the construction, but
do we need to look into like the gerrymandering of the zip codes here
But they fought, they battled. They do have 2 pitchers on that team. And that was the difference because as I said before, the defense shaky.
Bunch of cursed dads.
That's actually the real bummer is that one of the 2 kids that's a pitcher gave up. One of the runs he gave up was because the ball was tapped back to him.
He can't field his own position.
And he didn't field it. He bobbled it, and by the time he went to throw it, not happening. So they lost 3-1. But way better than I thought it was going to be. In the, I guess they play 6 innings.
Respectable score.
So in the 6th, my older son, my son Graham, who had a tough night going, he struck out his first 2 times at the plate, and neither one of them was very competitive.
Well, it sounds like the team scored 1 run, and it's not all.
By the way, the entire team going into the 6th inning had 1 hit, and it was bogus. Like, it was
one of those little bloopers.
We would have no, it wasn't even that. It was a little dribbler that
sounds like a hit.
Would have had to have been scored as a hit.
You know how many of those I had?
It would have had to have been scored as a hit, but so Graham is the leadoff hitter.
Whenever we got long, wet grass or something, bunt.
Graham's leading off the 6th inning, and I'm just nervous because he's had 2 really bad at bats so far, and like now it's the championship game, and like it's the first pitch he laces a double to right center field. I mean, like the sound that this bat made was so beautiful I could cry.
Does it sound like the College Baseball World Series? Ping.
Yeah. I mean, like,
nice job, Graham.
It blew my mind. I'm like, where has that been? Now, part of the problem is like his practice swings are awful. He's always uppercutting. He's always like, dude, what are you doing?
He's spending too much time with Uncle Drew on the golf course.
Might be the issue. So, he's very excited. He gets the double. Then the next kid walks, which is the only way that they scored a run. Was they were drawing walks. Every kid was going up to the plate hoping for a walk.
Good plate discipline.
Nobody was swinging. They were all up there just praying they were going to draw a walk.
So at this team, they threw hard, or what's the?
Yeah, they threw hard.
Okay.
But wild. I mean, in fact, that's most of the pitchers in this.
Yes.
Like they throw hard, but it's wild. So they get first and second, nobody out in the sixth inning, and all of a sudden, under the lights, everybody's making noise. All of a sudden, like it feels like you're at an event. Like Jacksonville Elementary was the place to be. And we're like, wow, this could be the start of a rally. And then the next three kids struck out, and the game was over. But because it was competitive, because my son blasted a double in the sixth inning, all was good. Like after the game, they still got trophies and second place trophy. It says second place on it. Like it's not. This isn't a participation trophy.
Okay.
Like they gave. It's like getting a silver medal. Like it happened,
which is valid.
People, I believe, they take their silver medal out and parade it around and get paid lots of money to bring it to appearances and stuff like that. So apparently there was a deal in place with my younger son, who was sort of like the bat boy for the team or whatever. He whenever they didn't have enough players during the season, they would just let him go play.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do that in the championship game apparently because the commissioner was there or whatever.
Jeez, gosh.
So they had a deal with my younger son.
Didn't the commissioner know Glenn Clark was there?
They had a deal with my younger son that if they made the championship game, they could stuff him in a trash can. I don't know how this became a thing, and I was nervous that he was getting bullied, but it was very much not that.
Okay.
He couldn't have been more. He was reminding them.
Yeah, he was like, guys, don't forget.
Yeah. I was like, all right. They were very excited about the whole team goes over, and then they all dumped water on their coach afterwards. Like they were in good spirits.
All right.
So as they were in good spirits, I reminded my older son about the cheese and eggs thing, and I said, tomorrow's Father's Day. Just saying. So sure enough, he didn't make it. My younger son, who is the chef, my younger son made me breakfast in bed yesterday.
Wow.
Breakfast in bed, eggs and cheese, and a single sausage patty.
Nice. Just found it.
Breakfast champion.
Need the protein.
It was fine. Then we went for a hike, which was wonderful. I loved that. We were listening to the Beach Boys the entire morning, which my kids didn't really care about, although they started to come around on a few tunes.
What was their favorite?
They really dig Barbara Ann. Everybody loves ba 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 ba. Everybody loves that song. That song's terrible. So we're having a great day, and then I'm on my way home, and I'm like, you know what? I've been talking about making this honey Old Bay chicken dip because my wife always loves making buffalo dip, and don't get me wrong, who doesn't enjoy a buffalo dip? But I've been thinking about this honey Old Bay chicken dip for like months. It's time to just do it. What am I doing here? Let's just figure it out. And so I said, we go to the store, we're getting stuff for honey Old Bay chicken dip. And she looked at me like, I'm nervous about this because she doesn't like it anytime it's a weird thing where she believes that her value is tied to the fact that she does the cooking. And so she's convinced herself that I can't cook, which is the opposite of true. And she doesn't like it whenever I'm in the kitchen. She gets very nervous and she gets very... But between myself and AI, we combined to come up with a buffalo or a honey Old Bay chicken dip recipe. We smoked it.
Nice.
The only issue was after I put it on the smoker, I had to run out to pick up the crabs. And I said to Mrs. Clark, hey, why don't you put it in the oven for a little bit to just keep it warm? And she allowed the cheese to get crusty.
Oh, okay.
Now, again, if anything's going to be burnt in life, cheese is a top. Burnt cheese is still part of the show, man. But it detracted slightly from the overall presentation of the honey Old Bay chicken dip, but I was very happy with it in general. It was a lovely day for Father's Day. Great to have the whole family over. Couldn't have been happier. Had a great, wonderful Father's Day. Hope you did as well. We come back in. Tony Massenburg is going to join us. We'll talk about NBA Finals Game 5 coming up tonight. It's Glenn Clark Radio. Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches, including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Need a trophy or award that's as unique as the achievement? Look no further than Crown Trophy. With locations in Owings Mills and Gaithersburg, they specialize in custom trophies, plaques, and medals for any occasion. From sports and academic awards to employee recognition and corporate gifts, visit crowntrophy.com today and let them help you create a lasting memory for your school, team, or business. Crown Trophy is a proud supporter of the Maryland Public Secondary Schools Athletic Association. crowntrophy.com.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Back in here on GCR as continue along on a Monday edition of the program. If it's Monday, that means Stan the Fan Charles, Ross Grimsley, and Luke Jackson are going to be getting together to talk baseball. I normally get an email from Stan telling me what time that is, but I have not seen said email, so I'll just make up a time. 4:30. I don't know. No, I think they're trying to do it a little bit closer to the start of the baseball game tonight, because tonight's game's at 7:30, right?
Tonight is...
I don't know what's going on.
Why
What the hell that's all about down there. I assume that's because they're playing outdoors in Tampa this summer, and that's...
it's hot.
Yeah, so they decided to bump all the games back to 7:30 to get it as close to the sun going down as possible, but...
Yeah, I guess so. Every single game this week, 7:30.
Yeah, annoying.
7:35.
Annoying. But that said, I think they're going to try to do it a little bit closer to the start of that. So Stan, Ross, and Luke talking baseball a little bit later on today, Facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Also coming up tonight, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Thunder battled back to tie up the series, winning Game 4 in Indianapolis on Friday night. Now, can they reassert themselves as the overwhelming favorites that everybody thought they were going into the series? Let's talk a little bit more about that. Joining us now, longtime NBA veteran, former Terp, Monumental Sports Network. Our friend, Mr. Tony Massenburg, is back with us now here on GCR. Tony, it's Glenn. I hope you had a great Father's Day. Thank you, as always, for taking the time for us.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Tony, it's such a weird spot with this series, man, because I would assume that, like, what we saw in the second half of Game 4 was the ship being righted, and the Thunder really were the better team all along, and it was a goofy path to getting there, but they're, again, the team to beat. But maybe I shouldn't be duped by that, because there have been so many twists and turns in this series that I should realize literally anything can still happen over the course of the next 3 games.
Well, it can, and I think when you look at both of these teams, they're both heavily reliant upon their star player. And when you look at the star player for OKC,
he had an excellent game. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're talking about 35 points. And again, he's a very unselfish player. It's not just the fact that he scores points for OKC, but he's also an excellent defender, and he also finds ways to get his teammates involved. And then I think when you look at the fact that Halliburton for Indiana only had 10 points,
Yep.
and again, that's huge for Indiana, detrimental to Indiana. But I think what was even more detrimental is the fact that Halliburton's the point guard and is a good point guard at that and passes the ball well. He only had 2 assists in that game. So the fact that they not only did a good job of limiting his scoring, but they also limited his playmaking ability and his ability to get other people involved as well. And that's something that the Indiana Pacers really rely heavily upon, is the production of the others outside of Halliburton.
To your point, Tony, I think one of the things that interested me coming into this series was I was stunned, I was flummoxed by the idea that the Thunder were minus 750 favorites in the series coming in. And the reason I said is, I think they're better than the Pacers too, but they've never been there. And that's part of what I didn't know about either one of these teams. And to your point, in particular, SGA or Tyrese Halliburton, is how they handle the moment in the NBA Finals. And it's felt like, and maybe this is just me from afar, it's felt like at times the moment has gotten to both of these teams, and then it's felt like in times, to your point, certainly down the stretch in Game 4, they've risen to the moment. I think that's been part of what's been weird to figure out about this series is it's felt like some of the haven't been there before has been a factor through these first 4 games.
Well, I think you're right in that, and again, as someone who's fortunate enough to play in the NBA Finals, back in 2005, the one thing that we had going for us with the San Antonio Spurs is that we had 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
And again, a lot of people may not consider Tony Parker a superstar.
No, come on.
But he was a star player. He was definitely a star, and he was a star as a point guard. And when you talk about playing with a Hall of Famer like Tim Duncan, you got to know when to get Tim Duncan the ball, and you got to know where to get him the basketball. And that's what Tony Parker knew about our star players. And then, of course, we had Manu Ginobili, who was an awesome sixth man that kind of, went back and forth between sixth man and starting. But these guys were always dependable production-wise in the playoffs and in the finals. And so that was a very experienced team that I was on, whereas if you look at these 2 teams, they're both, from a final standpoint, they don't have a lot of experience, but they have experienced players, and they both have star players. So I think, as much as we relied upon the team that I played on for others to be productive outside of the stars, these 2 teams, I think, rely on that production from their stars even more. And so I think when you look at OKC from a talent perspective, I think they have the more talent. They have the more talented team. But when I look at Indiana, they have done a very good job of utilizing the strengths that they have, which is their ability to shoot the basketball and their ability to run. They're one of the best teams in the league as far as pace. And when they're able to get out and run, then that's when you see Indiana playing their best. And they didn't do a good job of that the last game. And to me, that's part of the reason why they lost.
Tony Massenburg is with us here on GCR. Tony, I realize that we're selfish, right? From a locals perspective, the only tie that we have to this series is Aaron Wiggins, the former Terp. And we saw in Game 2, he gets 21 minutes, and he goes off and hits 5 threes and helps lead them to a lopsided victory. In the 2 games since, he's combined for 18 minutes. Are you surprised by the usage of Aaron Wiggins, who has seemingly done nothing but exactly what it is they wanted him to do when they gave him a big contract a couple years ago?
Yeah, well, I think we're seeing why OKC gave Aaron Wiggins a big contract. And again, he had a big game there. Not so much the last game. I think he only had 1 point there.
Yeah.
He was 0 for 3 from the field. But the game before that, as you just said, he was huge. And he's had a lot of good games like that over the course of the regular season. So I think what we saw in that last game was the confidence from their staff to know that, okay, we have a guy who can come off the bench and literally get on a heater and be a game changer in Aaron Wiggins. And I saw that potential in Wiggins as a pro when he was at Maryland. I thought his shooting sometimes was a little inconsistent, but I thought that he could develop himself because he was still young, and I thought that he could develop into a consistent shooter. And that's what I think OKC has seen with him. He has great size, about 6'5", as a guard. He's a willing defender, and he's also very unselfish. And so I think the upside for him is great, and that's why I think they have the confidence in him right now that they do.
All right, so now how does it change tonight for the Pacers? Like, what can they do? Because that had to be a gut punch with the opportunity to go up 3-1 in the series and know that you would have a potential clinching game on your home floor no matter what in Game 6. To have that get away from them the way that it did, what does this look like tonight? What is the path for them to try to steal it back on the road in Oklahoma City?
Well, I think they got to, first of all, be able to get out and run, and because that's what their strength is as a team. They're a very athletic team. They're a team that can also spread you out and take advantage of the fact that they can put shooters all around their perimeter right up to their 5-man, Miles Turner, who can also shoot the basketball exceptionally well, not just 4 or 5, but in general, a guy that's a pretty reliable three-point shooter. That last game, he went 0 for 6. So clearly that hurt them from the perimeter. So they have to be able to be clicking offensively from behind the three-point line. They have to be able to put themselves in a position where they can rebound the ball a lot better. They were out-rebounded 43-33 that last game. And so if you can't control the boards, then you can't control the pace. So if they're able to do a better job in that area, that will put them in a position where they should be competitive against OKC tonight.
Hey, Tony, while we have you, I wonder if I could run it by you. It's funny, we were talking about Aaron Wiggins. I had Keith Gatlin on last week, who, of course, coached Aaron in high school.
That's my guy.
And Keith mentioned, and we heard it from a lot of Maryland alums around the time of the coaching change, that there was some frustration about the involvement of the alumni within the program. And I know Buzz has come in and done a nice job in recruiting and all that, but what would you like to see in his alum as far as just the relationship between Maryland basketball alumni and the program on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I just, again, like all the Maryland alumni, we want to be embraced with the program. We'd like to see more players involved with the program as far as, on the coaching staff and from the developmental side of it. And because this is what you traditionally see at, big-time programs, big-time basketball programs like Maryland. You see a lot of alumni involved with the program, and so you're able to sell that to recruits. So I think if we can get to that place, and again, it's been difficult because we've had several coaching changes over the years, and again, our last, now 2 coaches were not Maryland guys, meaning Gary Williams was a guy that played at Maryland and had Maryland players on the staff. And our last 2 coaching staffs, we haven't seen that. So I like to see us get back to that because I think that's a tradition that will help recruiting and also help bring back more people to the program.
I think it's well said, and I there's no argument to that, right? Like you are the people that have the most skin in the game are certainly the people that are going to be the ones that are going to care the most. There's no doubt about it. Tony, what's going on with you? What are you up to this summer? What's going on in your world?
Just doing a little motivational speaking. I do corporate speaking engagements. Obviously, be speaking at some basketball camps. That's kind of what the gist of my summer is. I really use my summer to spend my time with my family because I'm so busy during the season.
Yeah,
I like to try to do that. And I may have a few other projects in the works that I will tell you about a little bit later on.
All right.
But for the most part, I'm just trying to enjoy my summer.
I love that, man. Tony, enjoy that summer. Look forward to catching up. Thank you for taking the time for us as always this morning. We really appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
You're the best. Tony Massenburg, former Terp, the Monumental Sports Network, with us here on GCR as we get ready for Game 5 in the NBA Finals tonight. All right, we continue along on a Monday edition of the program. The Orioles, of course, came away with the sweep of the Angels over the weekend. And if it's a Monday, I don't think there's any chance in hell that he's ready, but we're going to see. Oh! That's my guy.
I was very ready this time.
3 up.
And 3 down.
Look at Jake last week on the show. He's going to nail it all just in time to forget all of it.
Don't jinx me. Please don't
just in time to forget all of it. Yeah, it is time for 3 Up and 3 Down, which is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. Of course, tonight is Game 5. No better place to watch Game 5 than inside Sports and Social, the 100-foot media wall. All of the delicious food. You're just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook inside Sports and Social, Live Casino and Hotel, Maryland. That is the place to be tonight for Game 5. And, of course, the Cup is going to be in the house tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Game 6 in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah, it has to be.
It is. It's tomorrow night. So, again, we know now moving forward. After tonight, every game that's played the rest of the way is a potential clinching game in either series. So, got to be inside Sports and Social to check them all out. All right, 3 Up and 3 Down. It was a 4-2 week in the end. It was actually the first week where it was pretty difficult for me to come up with down for the week.
Yeah,
like genuinely difficult. I don't know. I don't feel good about anybody who's on the down list. I'll start with Colton Cowser at number 3, and it almost feels unfair because he barely played. Like, Colton Cowser over the course of the last week only had 11 at-bats. But in the context of you're hoping that the return of Colton Cowser will provide a serious jolt for this baseball team, that wasn't the case last week. And that doesn't mean that it might not be the case moving forward. But he went 1 for 11 in the 3 games that he played. And so that's in a week where it was very difficult to put people on the down list. That was enough for him to get on the list.
Yeah, I had him higher on my list. Again, like, it was just...
It's tough when he only had 11 at-bats.
Oh, I know, but, he's dealing with soreness. I don't know. He struck out half of his plate appearances. So... So Colton Cowser was higher. I had Sagano as my number 3.
Okay.
He wasn't on your list, I guess.
He didn't make my list, but
I'm trying to think of who else you could possibly have.
I don't feel good about the person that's number 2. In fact, I don't.
There's
really
not a lot of good options. He didn't have a great
start
start Saturday. He didn't make 5 innings. Yeah, Sagano's on my list, and especially because he's got higher standards now. For what he's been.
I'm not mad about it. It was a tough week. I understand. I'll get my number 2 is Jackson Holliday. And it's tough because I didn't think he was awful by any stretch of the imagination. But again, going to the standards and a guy that was looking like an MVP, he OPS'd 545 last week. It was not a good week for Jackson Holliday. And that doesn't mean that I'm down on Jackson Holliday. The problem is this year, like, the down list has been so overwhelming that in most weeks, hell, there's an argument that there are weeks where this might have been good enough. Oh, he had 5 hits? Put him on the up list. But it wasn't a good week. He had as many strikeouts as he did hits last week. It was just not a great week for Jackson Holliday. He OPS 545. But for Jackson Holliday, that's not good enough. But again, it's 6 games. I don't think it's me saying all of a sudden, it's all a fraud. Jackson Holliday's not the guy. It was just a bad week. That's all.
Holliday not on my list. He had couple multi-hit games against Detroit. Obviously went over for the rest of the week in the final 3 games that he played. But yeah, he did not make my list. Povich was my number 2.
Povich is my number 1, and it's tough because he actually was helpful yesterday. Like, you find yourself kind of
he faced a shorter line, compared to the Angels lineup compared to the Tigers lineup. But he did, I guess, he struck out Trout twice, so that was big. But only I don't know how to measure him as a piggyback guy, going 3 2/3.
This is really difficult for me because
he obviously wasn't good on
I legitimately had that conversation where I'm like, how can I put Cade Povich on my list? For the week, he was meh. But the truth was, they only lost 2 games. One of them they lost because they faced Tarek Skubal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about Dean Kramer, but on the whole, yes, he had a terrible inning.
Went 7 innings against Tarek Skubal. So
on the whole. But
I factored in Skubal to it. I was like,
it's tough.
I'm not putting
He didn't really give them a chance to win in context.
But who is?
To be fair. I still could have gone the Kramer route. I chose not to. And the truth was, they lost 2 games this week. One they lost because they faced Tarek Skubal. The other one they lost because Cade Povich got obliterated. And so ultimately, that in a week where it was tough, that was enough.
Yeah, Calderland is my number one. I just, I felt like it was tough to pinpoint this week on any single one guy, and he struck out. He only played 3 games, but he struck out 6 times, and I hope this soreness resolves swiftly because I do think they're still better when he's in the lineup, and he's a guy that needs at bats. So
I hope so. I can't imagine him being number one when he only played.
He was. Not many of these guys were bad this week.
I know.
When he played, he was bad. So.
I really struggled with the up list because there were lots of candidates for the up list. My number 3, I wrestled between Chaz Morton, and ultimately I gave it to Ramon Arias. It's this wild thing where every now and then with Ramon Arias, we're like, is he still helpful? Like, is he still...
Go Glover.
That's annoying. Although the one play he made yesterday, actually 2 plays that he made yesterday were really good. Look, he OPS'd over 1,000 for the week, including a couple of big home runs, and made some nice defensive plays yesterday. And there's irony in the fact that, like, I just had Jackson Holiday, who had 5 hits, on my list on the down, and Ramon Arias had 5 hits, and he's on my up list. It's just a weird way that works. But one of them OPS'd over 1,000, the other one OPS'd about 500. It's just... that's the way it goes. So Ramon Arias steals the number 3 spot on my up list.
I went with a guy from each level from each aspect of the game, reliever, starter, field player. Sir Anthony Dominguez was my number 3.
They're on my list.
He was obviously very good. He gave up 1 base runner over the entire week.
1 walk in 3 innings.
Obviously, yesterday was spectacular. Sir Anthony Dominguez, my number 3. Wrestled with, maybe Gary Sanchez deserves to be on here. But,
just a couple of games, but certainly made the most of his couple of games.
Dominguez, my number 3.
Dominguez is my number 2. Again, 3 tremendous, largely spotless appearances. I mean, didn't give up a hit in 3 appearances this week. And, of course, the one yesterday was phenomenal. And not all appearances are made equal. That one was enough, again, that he's up on the board from yesterday's game. So, Sir Anthony Dominguez, number 2 for the week.
Eflin was my number 2.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it.
Was he not on your line, or you
somebody I considered?
I mean, he devoured a really good Tigers lineup. Zach Eflin 7. He pitched into the 7th. Went 6 2/3. Eflin was my number 2.
Yeah,
for beating the Tigers.
The weird part about Zach Eflin is it's almost like he's a victim of his own, success. Where you're like, yeah, that was good.
The Tigers.
I know,
it's the best team in baseball.
I'm aware.
He let him the 1 run.
I'm totally good with him being on your list. And my number 1 was Jordan Westberg, who was just phenomenal. Was just absolutely outstanding, both offensively and defensively. OPS 1251 for the week. On Saturday, made a couple of really nice plays at third base. Jordan Westberg was incredible this week.
Yeah, you got Westberg right. I don't know if I agree with the rest of your list, but yeah.
It's okay. You're allowed.
I think Eflin should have been on there.
I get it. I get it. That's the way that it goes. We'll get that up at GlennClarkRadio.com. That's 3 up and 3 down for the week. A week in which there were lots of candidates on one side. May that always be the case. And
gonna need that to bleed into this week.
Big week this week with 4 on the road in Tampa and then 3 on the road in New York. Ain't gonna be easy. Real quick on my list of things that we haven't talked about from the weekend. Finally, in the win column. Just not going to do it?
This is the first of many. Job's not finished. So
you're not going to do it? Jesus, man.
Needed it for sure.
Jake's got his hat on and everything. Finally in the win column.
I thought you were going to say the men's national team.
Well, they did. They also finally. God, Jesus Christ! I mean, they were playing Trinidad.
Yeah, but if that was
You better get that one.
The old doubleheader.
Whipsnakes fell behind. What was it? 6-0.
Terry.
And then they were behind again in the second half. They were behind big again. Right? They were down like 12-8, something like that. I want to say.
Sounds correct.
Rally back to get their first win of the season. Of course, homecoming weekend coming up this weekend, where they'll be playing Saturday night and Sunday afternoon over at Homewood Field. Good for the Whipsnakes getting on the board for the first time. The Stanley Cup Final, now you thought after the way the Game 4 went that, like, maybe that momentum had shifted right back to Ed. This is why, like, it's a reminder of why I'm not over the moon about, like, hey, the Thunder are back. It looked like everything in that series was shifting back to Edmonton. Dramatic come-from-behind win in Game 4 on the road, and then they just down their legs. Yeah, the bad one. Like the one, you're like, I can live. It's just some piss. No, they went a step further. Almost gutless on Saturday night. Like lethargic, lifeless. You guys know the Stanley Cup's at stake, right? Just nothing to offer in a Game 5 home loss to the Panthers where they fell behind 3-0. They did get on the board, and you thought they had like a little bit of momentum in the fourth period.
They
scored. They scored to make it 3-1.
That whole fourth period, yeah.
And then I want to say like 5 seconds later, the Panthers scored again.
Yeah,
and stretched the lead back out to 4-1. They went with the like last 5 minutes of empty net, and they were able to get one back to make it 4-2. And you were like, man, nope. Gutless effort from the Edmonton Oilers. So they trail now 3-2 in that series, and the Panthers at home with a chance to win back-to-back Stanley Cups tomorrow night. And congratulations to whoever J.J. Spawn is. Whoever that is.
I believe he's a golfer.
Do you know that?
I mean, I saw he
played golf.
I saw him make one putt this weekend, and it was a big putt.
It was a hell of a putt.
Yeah. So I think he's a good golfer.
Holds off Drew McIntyre, the Celtic Warrior, to win the U.S. Open.
I heard the music too. I thought he was coming.
That was going to be for old Drew McIntyre. But no, wasn't meant to be. I don't know. I certainly did not watch any of the U.S. Open this weekend, so
it worked out where right after the I watched the soccer game to completion last night, and then switched right over back to NBC, and it was like, oh, look at this, he's got to putt the win here. It's pouring rain. This looks, I don't know why people like this.
Congratulations to J.J. Spawn, whoever that is. It's one of those weird things. Like, I hate that because this is the thing that people are doing. Like, oh, the NBA Finals markets aren't big enough, dude. This is the way I'm going to be with golf. I'm not a golf fan. Like, I'm telling you that. I won't just watch for the golf. That day will never come. I've tried millions of times. I'm not interested. That's a sport that, for me, it will require storyline and star power in order to get me to watch. If you enjoy golf, perhaps you were watching pantslessly yesterday. I don't know. Maybe if you're a golf person, it was thrilling to you.
Maybe because it was bad golf too, right? Like,
well, I don't know.
No one finished over or under. JJ was the only one.
He was the only one. He finished because he made that putt. He finished it 1 under. I don't know how the golf people feel about it. The golf people might be like, this was a spectacular U.S. Open. Yeah. I couldn't tell. I'm the guy that would love it if, like, the Wimbledon semifinals involved Musetti and Berrettini and
Tommy
Paul, sure. It's not going to happen. And
is he not going to grass?
Felix Auger-Aliassime. I would be.
I do like Felix Auger-Aliassime.
He's amazing.
Favorite name to stay on the tour, obviously.
It's a good one. You're not wrong about that. I mean, Musetti's pretty great, too. Like, there's a lot of good names
like
in that.
8 syllables in Felix Auger-Aliassime.
What I'm saying is I would be thrilled, but I would be in the minority, and I recognize that. Like, it would be me and my 5 closest friends. Because I'm just a tennis person. I acknowledge. With golf, it requires storyline and star power, and there was none of that yesterday. Like, trying to convince me that Victor Hovland winning his first major would be a big thing, nope.
Apparently he's the best player that hasn't won a major yet.
Maybe.
I heard that. Maybe that's not true. I don't know.
I think
reading tweets. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think there are people that feel that way. I know the crowd seemed to like Adam Scott. Like, wanted him to win.
Talk about his, from actor to.
I know. Well, he also won a Masters, so he was doing both. He was on Parks and Rec and winning the Masters. It was a hell of a run for him. But yeah, it was just never gonna be for me. Sorry, just not gonna be the way it was gonna go. Although there was a moment where I looked up and I think Scheffler was sitting at like 3 over yesterday, and I was like, as I'm watching everybody else, I'm like, man, could it be that Scotty Scheffler somehow just like plays crap golf for 4 days and then wakes up and is like, oh wow, I just won the U.S. Open. But that wasn't the case. Whoever J.J. Spawn is wins the U.S. Open. We're taking a break. And I think that was it from the weekend as far as stuff that mattered that we needed to get into. Those are the big ones.
I guess we live in a world where Desmond Bain gets a bigger return than Luka Doncic.
What a wild, yeah, right? What was it, 4 first-round picks?
And they swapped this year.
Is there something I don't know about there? What the hell is going on? Desmond Bain to the Orlando Magic. So that's a thing.
That was my takeaway. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So Desmond Bain gets more than Luka.
Wild, man. Very wild. All right, we come back in. Jeremy Conn will join us as he does every Monday. Don't forget, tickets are now on sale for the Maryland 5-Star, maryland5star.us, the Triple Crown of equestrian events, back at Fair Hill this October with all of the accompanying events like the Corgi Cup and the Food and Wine Festival. It's just an amazing weekend at Fair Hill. Get your tickets right now, maryland5star with a number 5.us.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. There, you just saved money with Easy Pass, all without slowing or receiving a notice in the mail. Well done, thrifty driver, well done. Get your Easy Pass at driveeasymd.com.
Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses make golf fun and affordable. All 5 local courses, Pine Ridge, Mount Pleasant, Forest Park, Carroll Park, and Clifton Park, are challenging and fun for players of all skill levels. Book your tee time today at classic5golf.com.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th, and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Feeling sluggish, unfocused, or not like yourself? It could be low testosterone. At Game Day Men's Health, we specialize in testosterone replacement therapy to help men boost energy, improve mood, and regain confidence. Our treatments, including testosterone cypionate, are safe, natural, and tailored to fit your lifestyle with weekly injections or pellet therapy. Get started today with a free testosterone test and feel the difference. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Game Day Men's Health, where men reclaim their game.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now, and on the cover, Luke Jackson looks at the long road back from Tommy John surgery for Orioles closer Felix Bautista, as well as Kyle Bradish and Tyler Wells. Also inside, we learn more about new Maryland basketball coach Buzz Williams from the players who have played for him at other stops. Plus, evaluators around baseball chime in on Orioles' top prospect Samuel Basayo. Press Box is available for free at over 500 locations throughout the region, including 60 Royal Farm stores. Or you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCRs, continue along on a Monday edition of the program. All summer long, County Sports Zone is going to keep you updated. Coaching changes, news related to high school sports. If you missed anything during championship season, you can find it at countysports.zone, and they'll start getting you ready for football. Team previews, things along those lines. They'll have all of it for you at countysports.zone, and proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Orioles do open up a series down in Tampa, these games are actually in Tampa, not in St. Petersburg. They play at the Yankees spring training stadium.
Hopefully they fare better in the minor league, the
park
AAA
in
park.
Sacramento, no doubt about that. Zach Eflin tonight, Eflin and Kramer, and then they have a TBA listed for Wednesday before Morton on
The roster resource believes
Thursday.
They think it's going to be Trevor Rogers getting called up. I don't know why.
I guess that's because they don't have an off day this week, so they're
Right.
going to go with 6 guys.
This is that stretch
maybe.
where they have, 20 games or almost 20 games? 1, 2, they got 7. Yeah, 7 this week. 6 plus 3, so 16 straight. They got 16 straight stretch right now.
But why would Sagano... Oh, Sagano pitched Saturday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Sagano... I guess they want.
Sagano,
so they just want to bump everybody back.
So it would be normal rest for Morton on Wednesday. Would be normal rest because he pitched on Friday.
Yes.
So the fact they've announced him on Thursday, essentially, they're telegraphing it. There is no other choice. It has to be Trevor Rogers on Wednesday, and that's just the reason why he's not listed. So does that mean they're going with 6 men for a little while, or is Povich getting bumped out in the process?
Roster Resource thinks he would get bumped out because then when they're in Texas, or when they come back to host
they
Texas,
certainly would want Eflin going on normal rest no matter what. Like if they're going to go 6 men, Eflin would stay on normal rest in the process. But it might make some sense to say for now, Povich is going to be available out of the bullpen, and if you don't need him, then you can reconsider this as it goes. But it looks like Trevor Rogers on Wednesday. Joining us now, as he does every Monday, of course, hosts the Big Bad Morning Show over on 105.7 The Fan, ConcreteLocks.com. He's our buddy Jeremy Conn, and he's back with us now here on GCR. What's up, pal? How was your weekend?
Oh, good weekend. Basic stuff, Father's Day, and we did dinner here. My kids came over. And you guys will start to realize that when you get kids that are no longer required to be in the house, how tough it can be to get them to come by sometimes. So it's a good day.
All right, let's talk about a couple things related to that, right? Because I'm assuming that you did all the food preparation with your kids coming over for Father's Day?
No, honestly, my wife would not let me. So
okay.
I did
right.
Because she had just got off work, came home at like 8 in the morning and started cleaning the grill. And I said, I'll do it. She's like, no. But I told her to rest, and then I put we did like a flank steak, and I put it on the smoker, but she did all the work.
Okay. So I would say I both grilled yesterday. I went and picked up the crabs myself, and I made some dip yesterday. I did all of that. But my argument is, but I wanted to. And I know Rob and I have had this conversation before. When I first became a father, I remember dads being like, oh, Father's Day, the day that's supposed to be for you, but you do all the work. And I realized that's kind of what makes it joyous, is that I can choose what I want to do, and my wife doesn't get to fight with me about it. Like, when I say, no, this is what I want, she's like, all right, fine, you go for it. You go right ahead. I want to do all of those things. I don't want someone else doing it. I sure as hell don't want another man on my grill. You know what I mean? No,
I get that.
I'm good with the fact that I do all of the work for Father's Day.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it used to be with me, too. I said this before. I said I would give anything to go to an all-day Father's Day baseball tournament and get sunburned all to hell and come home bitching about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the same thing. Whenever we did something on Father's Day, I'd be grilling out because I think that's the ongoing thing. Like dads bitch that they're the ones that are cooking on Father's Day, and on Mother's Day, the mothers don't have to do anything. But it's I like to cook.
Correct.
So I'm fine.
Correct. Exactly the way that I feel about the subject. Although I do feel as though your kids are at the age where they should ask to be more involved. That they've reached the point where they should say, no, we'd like to handle Father's Day. And we're not there yet.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Okay, fair enough.
That's a bad
maybe a reminder to me that I probably didn't start doing that until I was in my late 20s. That might be.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I think
it's a different era, man.
I don't think I was doing cooking, but I do think that for Father's, we've done Father's Day crabs for I want to say the better part of 20 years at this point, or at least since I came back from Arizona. So what is that? 2008. And so I'm pretty sure I've bought at least, but I might not have been grilling but I'm pretty sure I started taking care of going out and getting the crabs for 17 years now. So I don't know, man. You might need to be whooping some ass over there.
Yeah, look, my wife always does a phenomenal job with this and planning something out. And more times than not, in recent years, we would go out because she knows I love getting the meat sweats at Fogo. We all have our favorite places to go. And then try to rotate it in, whether it's anniversary, birthday, whatever.
So what about, I want to run this by you because we talked about it on the show last week. Did you see the story of the 4 guys that every year go to an Orioles game and bring crabs in with them?
Yes.
Okay. I do believe that they're heroes in theory. Like, I think it's awesome that these guys, just because I like to celebrate bros, you know what I mean? Like, the idea of male friends making plans and carrying them out, and nobody's lame and is like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it. Or, you know, like, the fact that they continue to do this thing, I think is wonderful. But I am of the opinion that it ain't worth it. I'm of the opinion that it's the wrong venue. And I felt this a little bit yesterday because with the weather, we had to bring the crabs indoors. And I don't care for crabs indoors. I don't care for it's not.
You know, crabs live in water. They'd be fine out there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry.
Thank you. Dynamite tippet. But I want the outdoor, like, I can spit shells wherever I want to spit them. It can be gross. We're all, like, going through it together. And then when you eat crabs indoors, like, you're going to go back to the kitchen, and then you don't want to be touching anything with your crabby hands, and it's the whole, I don't like it. And that's the way that I feel about the gentleman eating the crabs at the Orioles game, where I'm like, yeah, it was probably cool to figure out that you could do it, but there are so many better venues for your crab consumption and a better way to enjoy hanging out watching a baseball game to me.
There's no question. I would not want to eat crabs. Like, I know the Ironbirds have that, what is it, around the
It's
like,
the deck,
I've
the
eaten
crab
crabs
deck.
there.
Yes. But you're separated from society when you're there, right?
It's a little different. Yeah.
It's your own
when you're
little
at the
area.
game, sitting in your seat and picking a crab. If I'm sitting next to you, I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Right. Correct. You're. It's too much. And they said, like, we can't bring knives in. Like, that's annoying. And I get it. Like, you can find
Not even
other
a plastic one.
Apparently, they that was in the story. They didn't reference plastic knives. They said they were like using. What did they say they were using because they couldn't get knives? There was something in that story. Thank you, Griffin. I appreciate it. You get on top of that. We're gonna put our I-team on it.
I'll get on
it. The investigative team will get right on that. But like it's an annoying process for trying to eat crabs, man. It's not. It's no bueno. I'm not. And then, like, you're at the mercy of the game. What happens if the heavens open up in the 7th inning, right? Like,
sounds like you're just eating crabs then. You know?
It's just a bad. It's one of those things that was cool to see if you could do it the first time. And I love the fact that they mess with people. Like, this is where I think they're great. The story of them, like, when people, hey, where'd you get the crabs? And they're like, oh, up in section 536. Like, go right up. That's a 10.5. Like, high fives, fist bumps, the whole thing. But the actual concept of eating crabs at the game, like, no. That's no good to me. I need my own space for that. I need my own.
So they just use wooden mallets.
You said, because it just feels like a bit much. At least for me, like, you want to do it, go ahead and do it. When I eat crabs, I like to sit down around people. We're chatting, we're eating, whatever. And then having it on a table, just going to town as fast as I can. You know?
And you can come you can come and go as you please, right? Like, if for a little while you're like, I need a break, I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna throw the baseball around with one of my boys or throw a frisbee or something. You can come back to the crabs an hour. Like, that to me is how you eat crabs. It's not, we got to sit down, knock all these things out right now because the baseball game's going to end. No good. Don't care for it.
Yeah, I would just rather go around the corner and buy a crab cake. Like
that's. I'm in complete agreement with you. I saw that you were hitting the bowl this weekend.
Oh, yeah. You talking about acai bowl?
Yeah, I saw that you were hitting the bowl.
Well, look, dude, it's funny because I got up on Sunday on Father's Day, and like I said, my wife she worked the night before, so she's sleeping most of the day. My son went to work, so it was just like me in the house, and I'm going, you know what, screw it, I want an acai bowl. So I went out and got it, and like the place I went to, Blendable, I love it, and they have like different bases that you can use, and I tried all of them except the blue one. I said, I don't want that spirulina stuff, and she goes, can I just ask you to try it? And I tried it, and then I ordered it because it was so damn good. But yeah.
The
big one.
The chain bowl place around here. They don't spend any money with me, so I'm not going to give them a plug. But they have a blue one, and I tried it the first. I said, "Oh, this is good. This is good."
It just feels weird eating that color, though, right? Like when you're looking down at it.
When in your life did you become an acai man, and did you go through the similar feeling that I had of it? Does this say something about me? Like, we used to a different generation. They would do the like man card thing, and like, come on, man, we're what are we doing here? But like, I definitely had a moment where I'm like, am I an acai man? Like, is that okay? Or like, does it say something about me?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's it's been quite a few years. I went to, I think Pure Raw Juice in Towson was the one I would go to all the time.
That was the one I didn't want to give a plug to.
Oh, well, anyway.
That's all right.
So, yeah, cool.
It's
Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
It's fine.
But and then at some point I started going, man, I love these things. And then I started getting them every day, and I'm going, I talked to a nutritionist, and I said, yeah, I'm eating pretty healthy. I eat an acai bowl for lunch every day. And she goes, yeah, that's a lot of sugar.
Yeah, that, by the way, this is the problem that I have in that moment. Whenever you tell me about the sugar, you don't understand what I'm replacing here. If you think that if I wasn't eating an acai bowl, I'd be eating like plain salmon and kale, no. Like,
I read somewhere today that, I don't know if you know this, but kale fits perfectly into every single trash can that you can find.
That's exactly right. You can just throw it right in there, and it's good. Like, you think
and I never thought about it that way too, because it is like, yeah, I'd be going to get like a sandwich somewhere, maybe some fries.
This is the issue,
which aren't even better.
I'm not replacing a healthier meal with an acai bowl. The acai bowl is replacing a far unhealthier meal. So spare me telling me about how much sugar is in the acai bowl. Spare me. I'm not eating a fudge sundae. I'm eating some fruit and toppings. Chill. I'm only a human. I need something that doesn't taste like ass at some point. Not that, man, I'm not judging.
Every once in a while.
All right, yeah, let's go. I'm just saying. God, I want to punch every person who's ever talked about the sugar in an acai bowl. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to run over and get an acai bowl. They're like, hey, man, that's a lot of sugar. Go F yourself. Like, I'm so glad.
In front of you.
Yeah, right. I'm so glad that you are living in such a dynamically healthy way that you can cut out fruit. I'm so glad that that's how you're living your life. But you know what I'm going to be doing? Dumping an entire bag of Doritos down my gullet. Like, this is an uptick in my life. F yourself.
What was it in Notting Hill? Was it a fruitarian? That's the person that only eats
fruit. He only eats fruit,
that
yeah.
died already
and
fallen off the tree.
Yeah, right. That's where I am. That's
It's
where
lovely.
I am with that. Hey, have the NBA Finals actually been good?
They have, but again, like the draw of two small market teams, and as I said to somebody else, like I think this is the start, or at least the beginning of what potentially could be another Warriors type dynasty. Because when you look at what Sam Presti's done with that team, I mean, you've already got a team that was arguably the best team in basketball this year, and then now you have all these draft picks, and I mean, if Giannis isn't on the Thunder next year, I'd be shocked, because I feel like that's the one that makes the most sense.
Man, that would be wild. Here's my issue, right? Because I don't give a rat's ass about the market size thing. Like, I think it's embarrassing. Anyone who says, like, I'm not going to watch the final. Dude, you're just saying you don't like basketball, right? Like, that's fine. That's what by the way, it's what I would say about the U.S. Open yesterday. There was no chance that I was going to be watching the U.S. Open because I didn't know who any of these people are. And I'm not, but I'm telling you, I'm not a golf fan. I don't like golf. I'll only watch if there's a compelling storyline or like legitimate star power that I feel like people are going to be talking about it. So then I feel compelled. I watch the Masters because Rory McIlroy winning the Masters was a big deal. But I'm not going to watch, Todd McFarlane's Spawn battling with Drew McIntyre to win the U.S. Open. It's just not going to happen. So I'll say that, but it's because I don't like golf. I'll tell you that. If your ability to watch the NBA Finals is based around the market size of the teams involved, then you're just saying out loud, I don't like basketball. Just say it. Say, I'm not a basketball fan. That's okay. You prefer watching the Kardashians.
Yeah, and I guess, like, for me, when I'm bringing up the market size, it's kind of like, that's what everybody's talking about, why the ratings are down. But
I just can't figure out if the basketball.
This as well as I do. Like, if LeBron was playing on any one of those teams, everybody's still watching because it's him. You know?
Yeah. If he was,
it
Cleveland's not a big
have to
market
be a
either.
huge market.
Yeah, it's star power. I don't disagree with that. I guess part of the reason why I'm asking the question is, like, I know that mostly the games have been competitive, right? Like, they've been close. But I can't tell if the quality of basketball is actually good or not. Like, certainly in Game 4, SGA came to life and was great, but, like, the stars that are there haven't been – it's not been, like, a classic series from SGA and Halliburton for the totality of the 4 games. I just don't know how good the series has been versus it being close.
Well, it's weird because I thought the Thunder would dominate this series,
Right.
and I still feel like they should the rest of the way. I mean, they're 9.5-point favorites tonight, and they've been favored in every game in the finals, and they will continue to be favored even if they go down 3-2. So with that being said, it has been a good series, but it's been about runs, because I think when we look back on it, we were talking about it today, that in that third quarter when the Pacers were up 10 in the last game, in game 4, they've got to be kicking themselves going, how did we blow that lead, at home? And I think that was a really big missed opportunity for them to try to get back in this series, because I just don't buy into them winning 2 games on the Thunder's home floor, and they already won 1.
Let me pose to you. I posed it to I'm writing a column about it today at PressBoxOnline.com. Where are you with the Orioles? Are 15-12 since firing Brandon Hyde. They wake up today, they're 6 games out of a playoff spot. Where are you with how their record should or should not alter their plans at the deadline? And then a step beyond that, when would Tony Mansolino become a candidate to you to be the next manager of the team based on what they do?
So unless they made a run and won the World Series, I just don't think Mansolino is going to get the job, because now it's your turn to pick the guy, right? Like, as it sucks for Brandon Hyde, we all said that Brandon Hyde was the guy before the guy, right? Like, he's going to do the rebuild, and then he was way more successful and better than a lot of people thought. I don't think he deserved to be fired this year, but ultimately when it comes down to it, I think Mike Elias is going to go get his guy unless his hand is forced. Like Mansolino, like if something crazy happens this year, he's not going anywhere, and fans are just going to have to keep listening to him talking about putting points up on the board and getting mad because they're runs, which is so silly, but it is what it is. But I'm at that point too, where like you got to give it another couple weeks before you really make a hard decision. But what happens if you're in what I like to call baseball purgatory? You're a couple games out of the wild card. Do you go all in? Do you start selling pieces? Do you do a little bit of both? Because they have a bunch of expiring contracts. And here's the deal. If they've already talked to Eflin and he wants to sign an extension or he's interested in it, then I think you listen to it. If he's not, then I move him to get something great for him. I mean, he's got a 2.7 ERA since joining the Orioles. So, look, I'm glad I'm not in that position, because I'd still like to go for it, because I know how good my team was last year and the year before. But, they dug this hole, and now they got to kind of get back into it.
So I'm kind of like, it's weird because I'm normally the guy that would scream about this. Like, no, you have to go for it. But I just don't think this team can win a World Series. Like, even I'm trying to project, like, Eflin, Bradish, Rodriguez somehow all being healthy at the end of the year. Like,
what if they add another pitcher too?
Yeah, like you could make me squint and say, like, I guess maybe it's possible, but practically I don't think they can. And because of that, I don't know that I think that it should matter. Look, man, I think they should try to sign Zach Eflin. Like, I think they should, because they're going to need pitching. And at some point, they have to spend some effing money on pitching. Like this eternal, they all get hurt.
I think that's 100% this offseason. I was telling somebody else, unless Arizona signs him to an extension, I think Zach Gallen's going to be a Baltimore Oriole next year.
That would make some sense. It would absolutely make sense. Like, they have to do it. They don't. There's no choice anymore, and there shouldn't have been any choice before. And I get why you can talk yourself out of ever spending money on pitching because of the volatility. And you can say, look at Corbin, but you can do this till you're blue in the face. You don't have enough. You didn't draft and develop pitching, and there's not more coming in the system. You have no choice. You have to spend money on it. So spend it on Zach Eflin if he's willing to. But if he's not, I'm probably inclined to say there's not a lot of great pitching options that are going to be available at the deadline. And you probably
because of the expansion of the playoffs now, more teams are in it.
And the really bad teams this year, there's no Garrett Crochet, right? Like, there's no Dylan Cease that's available at the deadline on a bad team.
So let me go to this though too, because and I think I've said it on this show, but the worst kept secret is that Zach Eflin wants to go back to Tampa Bay. Right. I don't know if that's
it still requires them to spend money too, right?
Yeah, of course. And if that's not the case, then I think he would want to be here, and then I would want to sign him to an extension. But when it comes down to it and you're watching this team, the reason that I would push forward and try to go for it. I don't know if you've looked at the American League. Like a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about is the AL East down, and now there's 4 teams over 500 in the Orioles who are currently streaking. And the 2 teams you're chasing for the wild card are in your division, and you have so many games with them. So that's why, like, looking at it, even though they're saying they have a 5.1% chance of making the playoffs as it is now, I still think their odds are a little bit better than that because they get so many games against the teams they're chasing. And in a normal year, maybe you were chasing the Mariners or something, and then you're going, oh, well, if we're chasing the Mariners, we don't get to play them. We need help from other teams.
Yeah,
you know?
I get
so
it.
that's why I think they have a better shot.
The Mansolino thing, I would say it would require. I don't know that I could even consider it until like if they reach the ALCS. And I'm in a weird place with the like what you're bringing up is the what they're going to do aspect of it, and
what they should do is different.
Yeah, like I think there's a should versus going to, and the should to me still isn't like hiring Tony Mansolino. The should is as I told you before, I think they should have hired a manager now. Like I think they should have had. There's too many good candidates for me to get hung up on. Well, you got to have the deepest pool of candidates in the offseason. Like, and if the answer is Mike Elias is going to hire his guy, that's not okay either. And I've said that a couple times.
But is this finally a really attractive job, you think, for a manager?
This is the thing that like I've brought up a few times. I have spoken to 2 people who know Skip Schumacher personally. And both of them have told me they don't think that Skip Schumacher would take the Orioles job because they don't think he would have any interest in working with Mike Elias. And based on Mike Elias having the perception is he has
Mike Elias,
he has the power. And Skip Schumacher, the way that it worked for him in Miami and the reason why he wanted out is it was a give and take that he had with Kim Ng, right? Where like they worked collaboratively together. And I say all this, I don't know these things, but if that's the case, if David Rubenstein said, had everybody in my world says Schumacher's the guy we should hire, and Elias said, yeah, that's not happening, then if I'm David Rubenstein or that group, I want to know why. And if the answer is, dude, I have no interest in working with Mike Elias, that's a problem. It's a major problem, and it's not.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm sure you feel the same way that Kim runs that team the same way that Mike's going to run this team. I mean, I think they're cut kind of from the same cloth.
Yeah, certainly from their background, they're cut from the same cloth, right? The sense that I've got is that Kim is way more willing to give leeway to on-the-field manager and say, like, I'm going to give you the data, and there are times where you might say, but I'm going to do this instead. And the perception around baseball is that doesn't exist in Baltimore. That, like, the hilarious part about Mike Elias a couple weeks ago saying, well, I don't set the lineups. And then literally the next words out of his mouth were, well, but our advanced team gives them the information to set the lineups. And I'm like, right, because you set the lineups. Like, that's you're just using different words to say the same thing.
Yeah, but like I do wonder, like, so look at yesterday's lineup. Do you think that was from?
Yeah, I mean,
the front office.
I think the front office would say, like, the one yesterday would be why is Luis? First of all, why is Luis Vazquez on this team? Right, like that's the first.
100%.
Why is there a Luis Vazquez? But then 2, why is he in the lineup? And I think that's an organizational philosophy of we play the guys that we have. Like. Yeah. That's the way that it works.
Can we go back to the Vazquez thing? Because, like, it really makes zero sense. Because you have, all right, if you looked at it, you have 3 guys that can play third base, albeit you don't want Kobe Mayo over there, right? You got 3 guys here on the roster. Then if we go to second base, you got 2 to 3 guys that can play that position as well.
Yes.
And shortstop, if you needed to, Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson. And by the way, at worst, I think you could put Westbrook there and get away with it. I'm not saying that you should ever do that. I don't know why he's here.
Well, I feel like this is an old baseball thing where it's really about, like, we have to have a super utility man on the team at all times, right? And I understand that, like, the argument would be Emmanuel Rivera is not really, like, he can't play the middle infield positions. He'd only play third or first. And that everybody believes you have to have someone that can play short or second, because if you have that guy can play anywhere in a pinch, like if you need him.
Yeah.
I just don't. Why would you ever want Luis Vazquez to be playing one of those positions?
I mean, if he's on my roster, he's not playing unless somebody gets hurt mid-game or I'm making a defensive replacement. And I don't know that I need a defensive replacement with the guys that are going to be my everyday players.
I just think it's an organizational philosophy that if you're on the team, you have to play. Now, to be fair, but that was a Buck philosophy too, right? Like, that's not unique.
Well, that's why I'm saying he shouldn't be on the team.
Yeah, right.
I don't want him to play.
Solve that problem. Have someone else on the team. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Let's just leave an open roster spot.
Right,
You know?
but who's that going to be right now? Heston? Like, come on, man. It's tough. Times are tough in the moment. All right, what's going on with you?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. So, I'm still doing my concretelocks.com, but I'm also working with a company called Pick Dogs. So I do they sell my picks.
Okay.
So kind of what happened with me is I got approached, and I know one of the guys in the company. They tried to work with me like 2 years ago, but they have a wide market of like 250,000 subscribers or followers on YouTube. So that obviously appeals to me, and they can do what I can't do, and that's charge more money. You know, like I'm one of those guys that I started this because I enjoy doing it, and it gave me some leverage on the radio station, and you know what I'm talking about. So it gives you, you have another job in case something goes wrong.
Yep.
And then now, like, you're getting to this point where you're watching people make so much money, and you're going, well, let me see what I can do. And I've started off with them, and I've been on fire with them. But I do a YouTube video every day you can check out where you give out some free plays, and I talk about the weather.
There you go. Go find it. Is it on their YouTube, Pick Dogs YouTube, or is it on
Pick Dogs, and it's with a Z.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm also, obviously still doing this stuff at my site and this whole week. But Sunday night, I get Mumford and Sons, and
I'll be there. Let's hang out.
Neighbors.
Yeah, let's
Are
hang
you?
out. I'm going.
So
yeah.
can I tell you this? And I already know it. I am going to be in rare form Sunday night. I'm off Monday, and I just saw Good Neighbors in Ireland. Mumford and Sons are my favorite band, but I can't wait to see Good Neighbors, and I am just going to be dancing my ass off.
I love it.
Like nobody's watching.
I love it. I can't wait for that. That will be outstanding.
Definitely text me. We got a good group, and I'm still working on getting to that Counting Crows concert as well.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that. The other thing I do have to wrap with is, it's been a tough time in our country the last little bit. I think everybody recognizes that. So I just want to get your thoughts about everything that's been going on and the fact that now our national nightmare is over and Joey Chestnut is back in the 4th of July hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, what was that all about? Like the people that are out protesting should have been protesting it for Joey. I mean, this is the guy we want to see.
Justice for Joey, 100%.
Yeah. So I'm happy that he's back, and there's no more BS there with that.
All is right in the world. All is right in the world again. Love you, buddy. We'll talk to you next Monday. I'll see you on Sunday night. Thank you, pal.
Sounds good, man. I'll see you.
That's Jeremy Conn. Big Bag Morning Show on 105.7 The Fan. Appreciate him. Do we have to take one more break? How does that keep happening? What's going on there?
Well, I mean, this is how we want it to line up, though, kind of, right?
All right, we'll grab a break. We'll come back in. Tidbit, two-bit, or wrap it up. Glenn Clark Radio. This August, the PGA Tour's best are coming to Maryland. The 2025 BMW Championship tees off August 12th through 17th at Caves Valley Golf Club in Owings Mills. See the top 50 players battle it out in the penultimate event of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Don't miss your chance to witness world-class golf, fan experiences, and unforgettable moments. Tickets are on sale now at BMWChampionship.com. The BMW Championship, where legends take the lead.
Celebrate 60 years of America's favorite muscle car at Live Casino and win a new Ford Mustang. Earn entries daily and enjoy revved-up specials across our restaurants and bars all June. Cruise in Saturday, June 28th and be one of 25 players to win cool trips, hot prizes, or a new Ford Mustang. Hit the gas at Live Casino at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Driving in Maryland? Did you know an Easy Pass from driveeasymd.com can save you time and money? Of course you did, because you are a thrifty driver. An antenna reads your Easy Pass transponder and automatically deducts the toll from your Easy Pass account. Learn more at driveeasymd.com.
What makes the Costas Inn so special? This is Stan the Fan telling you that it's the people that work for you, cooking and serving. But that menu is also special with a capital S. Soups, salads, the raw bar, pasta dishes, seafood specialties, and entrees like the Costas combos, steaks, chops, ribs, amazingly delicious meatloaf, and all manner of delicious filling sandwiches including pit beef and turkey and subs. Of course, the steamed crabs are as good as you can get anywhere, and they serve them 12 months a year. The crab cakes are out of this world. Costas is open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner at 4100 North Point Boulevard, and coming soon, very soon, Costas in Timonium at the OTB Parlor at Timonium Racecourse. We'll get you the opening date real soon.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Want to improve your golf game or learn to play for the first time? The Baltimore Golf Academy has fun, instructional programs for the beginner golfer to everyday players. The Baltimore Golf Academy can take your game to the next level. Enroll today at baltimoregolfacademy.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we are winding down for a Monday edition of the program. Let's go ahead and get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by, I'm going to give it to the print issue of Press Box, which is new tomorrow. Hitting newsstands starting tomorrow. Brand new print issue of Press Box. And as we told you on Friday, on the cover, it's a very special Hall of Fame celebration for Baltimore native Carmelo Anthony, who becomes the first ever Baltimorean in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And we spoke to those who knew him about the impact that Baltimore had on Carmelo Anthony and how this place shaped him to ultimately have the Hall of Fame career that he had. And so he goes into the Hall of Fame later this summer. We celebrate that on the cover of this month's issue of Press Box. It's also our travel issue, all available tomorrow at your neighborhood Royal Farms, and you'll be able to read it all, pressboxonline.com.
Let's see. We had did you see well, of course you probably didn't see. I always assume you watch baseball, and I know you don't. William Contreras and Wilson Contreras played against one another as opposition between the Cardinals.
Is Jose unavailable?
Jose Contreras?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, is he part of the Contreras brothers?
I have no idea if there's.
Ronesy Contreras is in Norfolk, so I don't think he is. So I know he wasn't there.
Jose Contreras last played in 2013. Let's see if
is he related to William and?
I have no idea.
And Wilson? Okay, I don't think Ronesy is.
All right, go on with your day.
You want to play the Contreras game?
That's the list. That's the list.
Ronesy.
Yeah, good luck.
Well, I win, though, because I got Ronesy.
No,
you weren't going to get Ronesy.
We both got one.
You weren't going to get Ronesy Contreras.
You weren't getting Jose.
Yeah, but I still don't know if I believe Jose's a real...
Jose Contreras is related to William Contreras.
Oh, okay. Not Wilson, though?
Is he? I don't know if they're related. I think this might be an AI issue.
Okay. All right. Then
I think AI might adjust.
They became the 10th set, I believe, of brothers to homer in the same inning, or it's the 10th occasion. The same brothers
10 times in the same inning?
Well, yeah. They homer 10 times in the same inning. Brothers to homer in the same inning. It's the 10th occasion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was the 11th time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 different sets of brothers though have done it. I don't think you're gonna get all of them. Can you name the last the prior 3 pairs of brothers? And they each did it twice. Yeah, to homer in the same innings.
Okay. How about How about JD and Steven Drew?
No, not the Drew brothers. They ever played it with each other? Which is obviously Wilson and Wade weren't playing with each other, but only one other time was with them opposing, and it was 1933 when it was.
Okay, so these
Rick and Wes Farrell.
Rick and the Farrell brothers.
Yeah, the Farrell brothers.
Of course.
Wes was pitching apparently to Rick when. That's funny. That's crazy.
You think that might have been rigged?
Rigged or rigged?
Rigged. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Baseball's always been on the up and up, especially in 1933.
Sure. All right, brothers, they were teammates, you're saying?
Yes, these ones were.
So, Cal and Bill Ripken.
Yes, Cal and Billy Ripken. They homered in the same inning once in 1990, and then all again in 1996.
How's about... This is tough. It's easier for me to think of guys that... the Nailers?
Yes, the Nailers. And their names are?
Josh and Bo.
Yeah, there you go. Josh and Bo, both with when they were in Cleveland together. They did it once last season. They also did it in 2023.
Who the hell else? I don't think. What's his? I don't think Corbin Joseph ever hit a home run.
No. Who was Corbin Joseph?
He was Caleb Joseph's brother.
Did he make the major league?
Yes, he did make the majors.
Right, good for him. I knew that. It's testing you.
How about Jason and Jeremy Giambi?
Not the Giambis.
How about Brian and Marcus Giles?
Not the Gileses.
Giles. How about it's going to happen in 2 years with Ethan and Jackson Holiday, and that's what it really is.
No, not yet.
God,
not on the list quite yet. Maybe they did in.
This doesn't go all the way back to like Hank Aaron and his brother, does it?
It does, but they only did it once. But yes, they were on the list. Hank and Tommy Aaron.
I actually could not remember what Hank Aaron's brother's name was.
Old Tommy Aaron in 1962.
So
now you're really only missing two other sets of brothers.
Robbie
all time.
and Sandy
Since I gave
Alomar.
you Rick and Wes Farrell, not the Alomars.
Any combination of the Alou brothers?
Not the Alous.
The Boones?
Not the Boone brothers. This one happened, so let's see, it was the Contrerases over the weekend, the Nailers the last 2 seasons, and then before that, the last time it happened was 2013.
2013.
And it happened twice in 2013 that these brothers on the same team homered in the same inning.
Brothers on the same team homered in the same game.
Same inning.
In the same inning, yeah. BJ and Justin Upton.
There you go. The Uptons with the Atlanta Braves. They did it twice in 2013. They did it twice in April that they homered in the same inning.
Just trying to come up with brothers, man.
Also,
I don't even remember when these guys were teammates or not. Like,
you got the Aarons. I gave you Rick and Wes Farrell. Obviously, that was on the tip of your tongue.
I was gonna get that.
Yeah. Lloyd and Paul Wainer with Pittsburgh in 1927 and 1938 homered in the same inning. Sarah Langs was sharing all kinds of stats after Charlie Morton's old strikeout performance. He was the oldest pitcher since whenever to have 10+ strikeouts at over 41. Most 10+ strikeout games at age 41 or older.
Nolan Ryan.
Not Nolan Ryan.
Really?
Nope.
Satchel
Apparently he only did
Paige?
it once. I guess is that why he's not? I'm looking at the list of guys that had multiple in a season. 10 strikeout games, multiple in a season. So this was Charlie's second 10+ strikeout performance.
He actually won this one, which was nice.
Yeah. One guy had 4 10+ strikeout games at age 41. Actually, he was probably older than.
And I said Satchel Paige.
Yeah, not Satchel Paige. I'm also looking at just the wild card era. So.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So then Nolan Ryan wouldn't count.
Then yeah, Nolan Ryan wouldn't count.
But maybe should have led with this.
The one with Nolan Ryan.
Jamie Moyer?
Not Jamie Moyer. The one with Nolan Ryan is at 41 years and 213 days old. Charlie Morton is the oldest pitcher since at least 1974 with 8 strikeouts to the first 3 innings of a game. The only other 40-year-old to do it, Nolan Ryan.
How about that?
Yeah. So he's back. Charlie Morton's back. In fact, he's better than ever.
Is it Verlander?
Not Verlander.
Is it Scherzer?
Not Scherzer.
Is it... Man.
2004. He actually did it in 2004 and 2005.
Randy Johnson?
Not Randy Johnson, but Randy Johnson is on the list. 08 Randy and 05 Randy and 04 Randy had multiple. He was at least 41 and had multiple 10-plus strikeout games.
Clemens?
Yes, Roger Clemens.
Okay.
It's the most 10-plus strikeout games by a 41-year-old.
I could not have remembered Clemens exactly how old he was at that point.
He did it 4 times in 2004, and then he did it twice in 2005, and then one other guy did it twice in 2021.
Still doing this? God, I've been checked out for 10 minutes.
You're doing good, so that's why I keep giving it to you.
What year?
2021.
I don't know. Adam Wainwright.
No. Played for just about every team in baseball, though, so...
Oh, Rich Hill.
Rich Hill had two double-digit strikeout games.
That is a good way of qualifying Rich Hill.
As a 41-year-old.
I was between that and the other guy, Edwin Jackson, I believe, has played for
Edwin
every
Jackson.
team in baseball. Yeah.
He literally has. The other one can wait for tomorrow, so we're good.
Very good. Let's get tubular.
Okay, everybody, it's going to be quick today.
What was the main focus today, Coach?
Fundamentals, ball control. It's always huge.
Any early thoughts on the competition this year?
Well, look, this is the best of the best players in the world. It's going to be an amazing tournament.
Tournament?
Yeah, the BMW Championship at Caves Valley. What are you guys talking about? All they ever ask me about is football.
Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. Orioles Rays, 7:35 on Masson 2. Zach Eflin and Ryan Pepio is the pitching matchup there. ABC, Game 5 of the finals, 8:30 between the Pacers and Thunder. The rest of the baseball today, Masson, Rockies Nationals, 6:45. MLB Network, Angels Yankees, 7:05. Padres Dodgers, 10:10. Free game on MLB TV is Phillies Marlins at 6:40. College World Series, Murray State tries to stay alive as they take on Arkansas at 2 o'clock. Then UCLA LSU tonight at 7. Gold Cup, Panama Guadalupe at 7 o'clock. Jamaica Guatemala at 10 on FS1. You know what we effed up? We didn't do our Club World Cup draw. And I don't know what else we can come up with for the summer. We got to come up with something else for the summer.
Wimbledon.
What?
Wimbledon.
That's what we're
I
going
don't
to
know
do.
how. I don't know how we do it.
We really screwed this up. We were supposed to do a Club World Cup draw.
We've just
been
so busy.
The loser was going to have to do the coleslaw popsicles, and we're still going to need to do them at some point this summer. That's going to have to happen. TBS and True TV. By the way, how is Club World Cup? Like today, it's Chelsea LAFC at 3 o'clock, and so there's a chance. But also, it's at 3 o'clock. Like they're playing these things in football stadiums in America.
Oh.
In the middle of the afternoon.
Where's this one at?
I don't know where this one is. This one, I'm going to guess they're probably putting it in. But they're playing at
New
the
Jersey?
stadium in Philadelphia. Where's this one?
I'm just guessing. I'll have it in a sec.
The stadium in Philadelphia is getting
There's Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
They're getting afternoon matchups between clubs you have never heard of, like River Plate and Benfica.
Ooh, tonight we got at 9 o'clock Flamengo RG
DAZN
and
has,
Esperance Tunis.
Yeah.
And that one's, that's Lincoln Financial.
And in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know how this is supposed to be a thing. DAZN also has Boca Juniors and Benfica at 6 o'clock.
That one's in Miami at Hard Rock.
Sure. And enjoy. Netflix or WWE Raw tonight at 8. Non-sports?
Nah.
Nah?
Nah.
You're
nothing.
good?
Nah, there's nothing.
All right.
We
fair
got
enough.
nothing. American Ninja Warrior.
My younger son is going back and watching. He's very excited that The Miz is the new host of American Gladiators. And they're very excited about WWE's own Rick Boogs is going to be one of the gladiators. They're stoked about that. They love Rick Boogs. I'm Rick Boogs, and I'm here to rock with my man Shinsuke Nakamura. They love that guy. So when they found out he's going to be a gladiator, they're like, "What is American Gladiators?" So we've been going back and rewatching
watching the old
American Gladiators. I think we just picked up in season 4 for some reason. I think like the seasons are well, the early ones look pretty prehistoric.
When are you going to show them Gladiator like the movie?
The movie?
Yeah,
it's a little unrelated. I don't think that's going to be.
Yeah, but they need to watch it.
But they are wilding out watching American Gladiators. They are so excited. So they are fired up for the new American Gladiators with The Miz and Rick Boogs. That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, very good.
No funny combinations. I mean, Steve Martin and Zach Cherry. What are they plugging on Kimmel?
They're plugging American Gladiators, obviously.
Oh, okay. Cool.
They're excited about Rick Boogs. Who wouldn't be?
Barry Diller and Arnold Schwarzenegger on Seth
It would
Meyers.
help if I knew who Barry Diller was.
He's some
Diller.
businessman. He's plugging business.
What are we doing? What is late night?
Him and Arnold.
television? Like, I know that nobody watches anymore. I know that we like Jimmy Fallon ruined late night TV, but like, what is that?
He ruined it.
Or
the NBC execs. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a combination, right? Like, it's a combination. That show ruined. Like,
exactly. I can't say like I watch it. So
to be fair, it's not like Jay Leno was any good. Like, it was Letterman, like, that kept Johnny Carson's spirit alive. And like Johnny Carson, it's funny because some people had said to me that we don't know exactly how good Johnny Carson was phenomenal, and Leno sucked, but Letterman kept the spirit of Johnny Carson alive. And then, like, nobody right now is even bothering to try. Like, they're just all mailing it the F in.
Fallon was good for a little bit.
When?
I don't know. When he, like, first started?
He
like
was
in,
just
like, 2014?
doing YouTube bits. He's never been funny. He's just...
What else are you supposed to do?
It's supposed to be funny that he sings. You're like... What? I don't need to watch...
Well, they do, like, little games and stuff.
Yeah. Tell me when it's funny. Get to that
10 years ago, I told you.
I have no idea that it was definitely not funny 10 years ago.
Well, when I was 10 years younger, I thought so, yeah.
When
I was a kid.
So you didn't know what
when I was
funny
14, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, because you didn't know what funny.
I was like, oh, I'm staying until 11.
That's
11:30
exactly.
watching this.
Whatever it is, it's got to be good. Thanks today to Tony Massenburg. Thanks to Ryan Ripken and Jeremy Conn. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Galveston
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Brian Baker joining the program.
Brian Baker,
Excellent.
yeah.
Brian Baker, the Outmaker, Orioles reliever, will join the show tomorrow and Stuff and Things. All right. Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including the Maryland 5-Star, Game Day Men's Health, Live Casino and Hotel, the BMW Championship, Crown Trophy, Easy Pass, Baltimore's Classic 5 golf courses, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costas Inn, Maryland Sports, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Thanks to Jake at AlexWilson_ on Instagram is how you follow him. Follow us, Twitter. What?
That doesn't make any sense. His name's Jake. Why is it?
That's what. Man, I don't choose what people's.
Okay. All right.
Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go Birds. Duke sucks.